All right. So, 1 second. I realize I missed a note. Wait, I must be. It does not update somehow? Zachy, I might just steal your notes because apparently, somehow, my Google Doc did not copy that, and you were pretty comprehensive. I can add a note into that for what I was looking for.
Dusk Elves, Casimir whores?
Horrors?
Oh, yeah. With that note, make it official.
All right. So, last session, um, I actually felt like was a pretty good one from a character standpoint, although things didn't progress too horribly much in the short term. You awoke in Valaki and were able to make a little bit of progress, kind of getting a feel for how things really are during the day here. You didn't have much of a day the day prior when you arrived from the winery, but you kind of were able to put your finger on the pulse, and part of that was accomplished by Ervir going to talk to Milivoy at the church and getting a feel for some of the guards who may be sympathetic to your cause of ending this police state style rule. Um, Part of it was accomplished just honestly by the rest of you doing a little bit of shopping and wandering, although not all in last session, to like Blinksy's toys, seeing that like while there was damage, it seems as though people were able to kind of stop the fires before things ran too wild. And also you decided that it might be smart to take a trip out to that encampment to the southwest of the city. Who's pinging? Just making sure it's not anybody in here. Where you were alerted to the fact that there was going to be another Vistani convoy coming through. Turns out it's not just the Vistani. There are also a small but seemingly relatively well-guarded group of Dusk Elves, a variety I don't think any of you would have run into before out in the wider Faerunian world. But they seem to have been here for a very long time, and in fact, one that you spoke to insisted that he had been here since Strahd and his retinue originally came to conquer this area. He seems versed in divination magic of some sort, and he asked you, in exchange for a bit of critical information to your task, if you would swear to him that you would attempt to free his sister, Patrina. Um, he knows she's long dead, but he still experiences terrible nightmares of her spirit calling to him from the crypt underneath Castle Ravenloft. Um, and while Ervir was not along for that jaunt, correct? They didn't take you with?
Correct.
I have a feeling he'll have something to say about that whenever
How
it
about
does
say what
come up.
about timing, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Also,
I don't think there will be a whole lot for him to add. Be like, yeah, I'll do something about that.
yeah, that's more what I mean. Like you'd be like, "Yep, that's in the playbook."
You didn't even have to
Um,
ask.
Indeed. But in exchange for your agreement in this task, he told you of a place that is long forgotten to most here in Barovia, the Amber Temple, high up above the Solenko Pass in the southern mountains. A place that he insisted was extraordinarily dangerous, but it is the place that he knows that Strahd entered as a man and left as the monster that he is now. So perhaps there is a answer or even a method of overcoming him that can be found there once you are all ready to brave those terrors. Um, Lastly, the Vistana did pull you aside and ask if you could look into a young girl. Aragol, the leader of this Vistana, his daughter Arabelle, I believe. Excuse me a moment while I look it up.
That is
Uh,
correct.
has gone missing. No one's really sure where she was or how she got out of the camp, but it was noted that certainly people come and go from Valaki to here to trade fairly often. Um, and I will remind you all collectively, there were a few people that you did talk to that were not fond of the Vistana and also seemed, shall we say, dedicated to getting rid of them. Um,
That was
I
unrelated to the other guard that talked about kidnapping a girl.
Yes, kidnapping that girl was in reference to the Baron's son, and that
Yeah.
girl sounds more like a young woman to all of you. Someone who's late teens or so, early 20s. This girl, Arabelle, is like 7. So she is truly like a little girl. Um, Unfortunately, the woman that Mike just referenced, yes, seems to have been taken by Victor, and, well, no good news came of that. But yes, in terms of the Vistana, you've heard a few people, and the only reason that I'm bringing this up is this hook can land earlier, and also you had this conversation 15 sessions ago. There are 3 that have expressed consistent displeasure with their presence that you are aware of. One was all the way back in Barovia Village, and perhaps is not related. So I'll leave it to the side. But the other 2 are the hunters that you spoke to, was one of the sets. And the other is you're aware that the current Baron of Valaki is unfond of their presence. He doesn't like them, dirtying up his town with their merriment and drunkenry. And it was him specifically that was not fond of them. I'm not saying Victor has a connection. Unfortunately, you've intersected 2, and I hate to give you the metagame information, 2 different plots involving potentially that family and kidnapped women. So I would like to point out, to save us all some time, don't chase Victor on the Arabelle thing, but perhaps the Baron himself may be involved.
And you're referring to like
Important to
Luvash
poke
and
around.
like Erigal.
Correct.
They're the people. Okay. What
Oh,
was
they're
there?
not the hunters.
No. What were the race you
They're
said? The people that like the hunters don't like them. Barovia, some dude doesn't. Barovia doesn't like them.
Vistani, the gypsies.
Okay, they're just a
Yes,
different.
and sorry,
Damn gypsies,
Vistani. Yes, Vistani is the race. An individual Vistani is a Vistana.
Okay.
So if you heard Vistana in there, that is the singular form of that.
Okay.
And yes, so the people that I'm referring to that you spoke to, Ayakobachi, are the 2 hunters that you talked to your first night here in Valaki, I think, when you sat down with them at the inn and tried to ask them about local game. They did mention that they're particularly unfond of the Vistani and what they've been doing in the area, and that they felt like they were scaring off all of the prey. So just pointing that out, because those 2 hooks, the thing you heard about the Baron was, again, that he was trying to drive them out, but those were in the same session 15 sessions ago. So if nobody took notes on those passing things, I want to bring them back to your attention. Your characters would likely remember.
2 separate women that were, in fact, about like, and a pair
Correct.
of women bones that we're looking for. A lot of women and or bones of women we're looking for.
Unfortunately, bad things tend to happen to vulnerable people in this campaign. So yes.
Hunters were named Yevgeny Krushkin and Soldar Soldarovich.
Mm-hmm.
Did
Dan
take that
Danson.
down.
I'm impressed.
Okay.
Write down that they hated the Vistani. I assume that's kind of just like a given for most people.
For many people in this area, yes. They are kind of, I think, understandably looked upon with envy, given that they are not trapped. They're able to wander to and fro as they please. The fog will let them out and back in. Frank, were you about to say something?
Yeah.
Sorry,
So like, what if it was like the guard back in Barovia though, and wanted to trap her into the House of Rats?
Ah, there you go. Or perhaps he wanted to try and tap her young girl potential Disney princess energy and turn her into a wielder of a rat army?
Yeah, something like along those lines.
Rat girl.
Like I said, not to just push the Barovia Village thing aside, you guys are going there at some point, but I don't want you to chase that to resolve this hook. It seems like a waste of everyone's time. Again, you were talking about trying to, or how long this might take to finish. I don't want you to have to
Right.
back and forth for that one.
No big deal.
Now you got other pressing matters with another girl too that should probably be taken care of.
Yeah,
as
that
well.
one's harder to pick a time though. At least for the 7-year-old girl, we can go, that's a 7-year-old girl. That's
Yeah.
like, if it's not resolved in 24 hours, she's dead.
Probably.
Yeah.
I got to
Push life.
respect.
Assuming she's not already.
You'd have to dig deeper to find out. But yes, that one probably would occur to you all to be a little bit more time sensitive. Hint.
Right. Well, I definitely want to go with Raumir to that shop over in the east part or the east part of town. Try to maybe barter for that rest of that
Oh, the rest of
half
the
plate.
armor?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, the one you guys robbed?
Yes, but he doesn't know that.
Yeah.
True.
Well, I took the armor off. In fact, Raumir, I don't know what our money situation's looking like, but I mean, I think if we really need to pull maybe a quote-unquote scam, you could tell him that you took this from the druid who stole it, and that's not lying. I did steal it, and you did take it from me, and you could just say I got it back for you, and that way I know you love to lie, Raumir, but sometimes telling the truth sets you free.
Ooh. Clever, clever. Can't incite something that's not technically a lie, can you?
It's lie by
Actually, you
omission.
can, but
Lie by
Zone of
omission.
Truth would allow
Yeah.
that by, yeah.
Is lying by omission still like considered like a deception because you're still like deceiving somebody, or
It is, but
In the court of law.
I am of the opinion that that drops the DC by a considerable margin because you are obfuscating the truth, but you are telling the truth, which makes it much easier to pass that
Wow.
off.
The best lies are the truth.
You're not making
Basically,
up facts. You're
it's
just leaving facts out.
exactly.
Yeah.
Because I
And
don't
when
know.
I say greatly lower, I mean like he's going to take like a -5 or -10 penalty depending on how good your
And you know,
cell is there.
I do love this armor very much, and it's covered in the blood of my enemies. But I think this half plate is probably a little more important for the hunt in the long run.
Well, again, as long as you don't waltz in there wearing the armor,
Yeah, because I think
how is he going to know you have it?
Right.
Go put it in a box in the inn and he'll never know.
right now.
I got 20 gold pieces, so.
Yeah, right now I'm not wearing the studded leather armor.
Yeah, me
so.
neither. I have it folded up. Probably in the backpack or something.
Just be mindful in case we do get into a scrap in town that you are aware your ACs are lower.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't. It's down by 1.
It's nice because you can just click the box and it just does it for you. It's very nice.
Yeah, that's how I double checked to make sure it was still unequipped though.
Yeah, but I'll
I
be
also
right.
trade in my scale mail at that point too.
Oh yeah, that's smart too. We should do that.
Yeah, scale mail's not horribly valuable, but 50 gold is a lot for you guys. And I assume by both a martial-ish character that is aware of how to maintain his stuff and is as considerate as Orvir is, and having a mending in the party, it's in pretty good condition. So, but yeah, if you all wanted to collectively head that way, that's certainly a thing you could do. In that case, I think we'll pick up with you guys kind of approaching town again, heading in from the west gate. It is probably late morning, 10:30, 11 o'clock, give or take, given how much you guys have done so far today, which means that the guards are not as on edge as they would be near dawn or dusk, and you've certainly registered with all of them and entered through the west gate before. So you are greeted with not a particular, level of scrutiny, more of just confirming, your names and signing off in the ledger that you're back in town. Of course, you do see at least one friendly face there, as you've already been sort of made aware that he may be sympathetic to your cause. However, and that being Mickle, as you kind of wander towards the church, I think this is where they'd stumble upon you sparring Ervir, which is not horribly out of character for you, but you're not too much of a sword swinger. How well do you think you'd be doing? Irina is drained, but has been training most of her life as a fighter. It is probably quite good. Um, but the point is not so much to win as it is to learn. But
Yeah.
yeah,
He's got decent con and deck, so he can definitely keep pace. But his actual swings are the epitome of average. You would expect an
fair
order
enough.
of doom guides that are renowned for their two-handed sword undead slaying
Mhm.
to be a lot better than that, but he's adamantly stated that he is not one of those.
Yeah.
Makes it clear every opportunity he gets, and you're whelmed.
Whelmed, I see. So yes, you know where to stick the pointy end, but there's not a lot of flourish or flash. It's more
That's a guy with a
exactly the
sword that's
moves as you've
had
learned
it
them.
before, and yeah,
Yeah.
it's too by the books. This is
Fair
how
enough.
he learned, and this is how he does it. There's not sword experience in there.
Fair enough. In which case, I would say that the three of you would roll back into town, wandering past the front of the churchyard to find Ervir. I assume a decent bit of sweat worked up on your brow, but not covered in
Especially
bruises
at
or
scale mail
anything.
and shit.
Yes. Um, and Irina has reciprocated. She's wearing her armor to practice with. Not only is it safer, but also it's more fair. Um, and she is, especially now that you see her getting like some actual physical activity in, where it's not like in the middle of a pitched combat, she's looking a little better. Like, finally, a couple of days have gone by. She's spent a decent amount of time here in the church. Her drain does seem to be wearing away. And Ervir, throughout this, I think you would have noticed. She looks hardly, perfect or whatever. Her hair's a little frazzled, has kind of come out partly from the tie. Um, but she does not seem to be particularly out of breath. And she's corrected you a couple times, you want to make sure, you keep your guard at this particular angle, or you're stepping too much with the left foot, keep an eye on that. But I think she seems as though she's been reasonably impressed as well. She knows you're more of a man of the cloth rather than a man of the blade, but you handle yourself reasonably well. And I think you would all come across them kind of near the front of the churchyard, visible from the road. Um, and we'll all catch sight of each other at the very least. Irina offering just like a little bit of a wave as she takes a handkerchief or something and kind of dabs off what little perspiration there is, and kind of sheaths the sword for whatever conversation may come.
Are we like walking like past this at this point,
Yeah,
or
yeah, yeah. You guys kind of wander in through the gate, normal back to town stuff. Unless there's something you'd like to do, but I'm just saying, you'd probably
'cause
all kind of find
I,
yourselves here.
I could do like my mastermind like range help action.
Him with
Irene
the
has already
left!
sheathed his sword. Irving will give her the.
I'm willing to back that up if Ralmir wants to like try and distract her from a distance so that Ervir can score a cheap shot.
Irving wins.
But that's up to you.
I wasn't gonna do that though. I was gonna just like yell something out though, just for tips though, and then just keep on walking.
That's fair. Keep that elbow up, asshole.
Yeah.
Kick her
Roll
in
on
the
by.
dick.
I was just gonna
Yeah.
yell, keep your back straight.
There you go. But yeah, it's up to you guys if you want to group up again or not. But I think this is your chance to, at least for now, without having to go, oh, we'll go get him. It's up to you, Ervir, kind of what you think you've done and whether or not you guys think you have anything to tell him about.
They have a lot to tell Irving about.
Yeah, well, I'm
But
definitely.
how itching to do that are they? Because Irving still doesn't know about Narlock's new shadow friend either.
That's true.
Yeah, there are a few conversations to have, but I can't make the characters have them.
Well,
Nobody knows about the shadow friend.
I'll definitely fill him in on. Well, first off, telling him that his sparring was quite admirable, and
Yeah, he's just gonna drop his shit and fall to the ground and just sit out of breath and let you talk.
And the air is up here. You gotta. I'm telling you, you gotta stand up and put your hands above your head. It helps during the hunt.
There's air everywhere.
No, it's worse down there. I'm telling you.
I can't tell the difference.
So I'll inform him about the Dusk Elves and Casmere, how he, obviously it needs some ancient, well, not ancient, but 50-year-old bones kind of put to rest of Patrina Velikovna, and
Mhm.
I thought he'd be the man for the job. And if we help him do this, he said he'd give us some information how to end Bat Dad. You know who? And as I look around, don't want to, see anybody see me saying anything about him. And then also
Bad
mention the
Well, he
Dad.
place.
already gave you the information, right?
He did. Well, he told you where to find it, but
Yeah,
sounded like maybe he might guide a bit more if necessary.
if we,
But
yeah. And then the place that he told me about was in high in the mountains, far, you know, from you kind of got the gist. Strahd's packed, cohort went in, no cohort comes out. It's fishy,
Mhm.
but it's pretty
as
dangerous.
you
So
as you mentioned that it's way up in the mountans, and I think you'd probably give the one landmark you were told, Solinka Pass.
Okay.
Irina would kind of go, Well, I've certainly never heard of anything up there that anyone visits with any regularity, which does match with him saying it's been sort of lost to time. But part of it is likely because there's a particularly dangerous and, well, positively gargantuan bird of prey that hunts that area. Uh, I heard it carried off a full wagon once.
Griffin?
No, actually sort of more of a proper hawk or eagle style body, often followed by particularly inclement weather. I don't know anybody who's ever gotten close enough to get a better description than that and, well, live to tell the tale. You can make a nature roll, though, if any of you would like. That's a vague enough description, there's a chance.
I'm not proficient, so I won't roll. Or we probably don't know.
I mean, I'm not, but give it the.
Big rolls.
nice
That
roll.
is a big roll from Narlug. Hang on a second.
19.
Oh, give me 1 second, so I'm sure that I get the description right here.
Damn, raw beer. I'm
Um,
rolling weighted dice.
I know that's gonna count that as my practice
ooh.
roll.
It'll be a good day.
All right. So what was the high roll there? Oh, Jesus. Oh no, you're not advantage, so but 2 19s. Okay. I think with that, and kind of you all, I assume, throwing a quip here and there and kind of rubbing your heads together, um, it occurs to you that there is a particularly gnarly type of a bird that is that large. They're certainly extraordinarily rare, and by most measures, practically mythical. But a creature known as a roc, ROC, certainly fits that description. Um, let's put it this way. Uh, they're supposedly created by one of the ancient elder gods. The father of the giant gods, in fact, Anam, made them so that giants could ride them into battle against dragons. If that gives you an idea of the scale of eagle we're talking about.
That's a big bird.
That's not good.
No.
You don't fly yet, Narlug?
No,
Slow
about to learn
fall?
next level. Snowfall.
Ayakobachi's eyes light
What
up.
is snow?
Slow fall.
Slow fall.
Oh, snowfall.
Featherfall.
Featherfall.
Gotta wait till next level up for that.
That's a cleric.
Those are
Oh,
same
is-
tier of spell. Whack.
Level 1.
Featherfall's level 1, I think. Fly is level 2. Right?
I think through flies 3.
Yeah,
Oh, it might
I'm
be.
just saying I'm not gonna have them till next level up
Yeah.
as an
Oh,
opportunity.
you say just
And he'll probably
learning
take.
them.
He'll probably
Gotcha.
just take a. If we find a spell scroll of it, that'd be dope. Or maybe meet a wizard who can cast it. He can make a spell scroll.
Can you learn, or can you prepare Featherfall,
Me?
Akabachi?
No. I cannot. It's a wizard.
Oh, I thought that was on the druid list.
It's like wizards, artificers, and something, and warlocks, and I don't think warlocks can do it either.
I thought druids were able to do that.
Who might be able to prepare that? Strahd.
Hey, Strahd, want to write this down?
Because I thought it'd
Which
be
Look at the
funny.
spell score real quick.
Right.
Yeah,
Would
'cause I
Strahd really
thought-
need to know Featherfall, though? You've seen
Well,
him
he probably
literally,
knows
like...
fly because he was bored.
Yes, that is fair. But you have
Artificer,
also
bard,
just seen
sorcerer,
him, like,
wizard.
sit in a full-ass recliner in the middle of the air. He
Yeah,
doesn't seem
you
to
gotta-
rely on standard magical
Here's
levitation.
how you do it, but like you should know how the peasants do it too.
Right. Been around.
Just so you know how much better you are than them.
Throws you a book, hovering for dummies.
Look what they have to do to imitate half our power. Yeah, but we also met some Vilstani, and we bought some cool stuff. Ramir, show them the goods.
Show.
Oh, right.
Oh, yeah,
here's
what
the
you had purchased.
got the not showing the partial breastplate I bought.
I was thinking maybe we sell your scale mail, maybe barter a little bit, and get you that breastplate. Get some mending on there.
Urbier looks genuinely surprised and happy. He did not expect you to do anything for anyone else.
It's more of a team effort, you know.
It is, but that still exceeded his expectations.
We
He was just hoping you didn't gamble all the money away.
could have happened.
I mean, I did some. I tried to do some haggling though. It could have went real bad. So I was kind of gambling.
Social gambling.
He'll run his
Um,
fingers over the engraving on it, and not very satisfactorily.
And
Good
it
work. I
is.
appreciate this. That was very thoughtful of you guys.
There's also
This will help keep all of us standing.
There's also a tiny child or tiny prey, little female that's gonna be murdered shortly. I have her doll. I don't know. We should probably find her, but
You probably should have led with
That's
that.
the Ayakobashi we expect.
oh yeah. Is anyone else hungry? I could use it. I'm not in a huge hurry.
I love girl corrected to prey.
Yeah,
Urbier was going
And
to
then
comment
the
about how you
offhanded
didn't
nature
have
of
to
it.
do that.
slipped on that one.
You could have just let it go and let it be child. Urbier will ask if you have any leads. I assume we don't have much. He'll suggest asking the Mardikovs.
All I got is this smell.
Actually, yeah, do you pick it up anywhere?
I'll keep my nose open. I'm not really in my best nose form right now, but I could
Well,
use that.
It could be anywhere.
Um,
I don't even know if you.
Let me check. What is your passive? Out of curiosity, just so
Perception?
I know if you're not making an active check.
My passive smell. My passive perception.
Passive
16.
perception. 16? Oh, that's quite good. Okay.
If only you were Loxodon.
I could become a dog. Give me advantage.
At the moment, you do not smell anything, but yes. Do you want to be a dog and unable to talk for the next while, or
Yeah,
it all depends on if you're actively pursuing that right now? I suppose.
I did some talking, and before I changed, my leather armor would be just poking out of my pack ever so innocently, waiting to be taken unsuspectingly. Nudge,
Before you change,
nudge Ralmir.
maybe we can get some very informed people to give us an area at least, and you can hone in on it.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
You want
Fair
me
enough.
to take it now, or
Yeah,
do you...
take that just in case, like use it as backup. You will sell his scale mail, and if the guy's still giving us a hard time, and we don't have enough money, we can always sell that armor.
All right. And obviously, I think Irina looks a little bit troubled that, there's a girl missing. And so there really isn't much to go on, I suppose. Danica probably has the best chance of having heard anything.
That's a thought. And even if not, you'll know where to look.
Mm-hmm.
So it's
And
back alley
yeah,
to go to, where the hooligans are.
right. No, unfortunately, there's no particular graffitied back alley where all of the hooligans congregate that I'm aware of.
Mm.
It's the whole town.
Right. Oh yeah, you're looking for Dice Alley, where all the hooligans go.
All the Valaki Vandals hang out. Those Vandals are.
Right. There you go.
There's some
That's not their
troublemakers.
high school football team.
They just put VV
The
everywhere.
Valaki Vandals. Yes, because they're really hoping to make state this year. So that's the big focus of the town at the moment. Funding
Nothing
the
I'll let
says
you
sports
Village
team.
just
depressing
come
not the
strong, dude.
core like a Letterman jacket.
Mm-hmm.
Those ghetto kids in Barovia Village are pretty good.
Yeah, but it's the fucking but the what is it called, Ravenclaw? What's the name of that area where the castle is?
Ravenloft.
So
Ravenloft.
Ravenloft Ravens are undefeated, never lost a game in Barovia. They're all vampires.
I do feel like an entire football team consisting entirely of vampires versus a football team consisting entirely of underfed peasant
Peasants,
children
yeah, right.
is not going to go well for the peasants.
Is there a clone or duplicate self spell?
Permanent, yes. It gets tricky.
Temporary.
Temporary?
There's some like
Can the whole team be Strahd?
There's like some greater illusions that could make that work.
there is like a disguise self for
Feels
the
the whole
party.
team
There
is-
is something like that.
That is true.
And then there's like stuff that like lets you make a copy of yourself that you can use for like roleplay purposes and shit. But it's like a copy of you.
Mm-hmm.
And there's Simulacrum, which is like the OP
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
Strahd's the whole team, and then that asshole's the water boy.
Alright, well, I'm gonna keep my nose open.
Okay. I will keep an eye out for that 16 passive unless you call for an active perception check.
Yeah, I'll do that when I'm a dog. I'll wait.
Of course. All right. So where would you guys like to go? Arasek Stockyard is over on the eastern side of town, where you kind of see that
Yeah,
little
we'd
like loop out from the
Past
road,
blue water anyway.
and you
so
would pass
hit
the blue water
first.
Okay.
Ruby's very aware that a 7-year-old girl, if she's on her own, she's really not likely to survive, and if she's captive, well, she's really not likely to survive. So,
Mm-hmm.
chop chop. Fuck. Wait, no. There's some divine divination shit I could use. I could theoretically maybe use because we have the doll, but because
Mhm.
he's never seen her, I don't know if that will actually.
You're talking about locate creature.
Yeah, maybe.
I think having
I don't have it prepped, so it don't matter. But
yeah, it would take you an hour to reprep if we're going by those alternative rules. But I would say for future reference that would work. You need a connection to the person, be it a strong description, a picture, something of theirs, yada yada. So just so you know. And the other option is just you've met them and you can hone in on them.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
we should
So
talk to Danica though.
yeah, you head over to the Blue Water, and it seems like at this hour, there's actually not that many people here. You're kind of between everybody having a hungover breakfast and shambling off to do whatever they do for work or to upkeep their own homesteads, and sort of the midday rush where you'd see people coming in to take food away, if they don't have time to cook. And so it's really just probably Danica and the boys. Erwin's out probably running errands. But Brom and Bray are over in a booth, probably playing a game of cards. And yeah, Danica would just look up as you come in. No, I'm not used to seeing you all in the middle of the day, I'll be honest. I've seen you sort of come and go more around dawn or dusk. Looking for lunch?
Coming while the sun is up is a nice change. If only the reasons for our visit would change.
And you can immediately see the, like, look of what trouble have you brought me? What can I do for you on that front? Just kind of glancing around to make sure there isn't anybody else within earshot, and it is just the boys.
Yeah.
So,
Young Vistani girl's gone missing.
you
This is
see
back
her
on the planet.
thinking.
Roughly 7 years old. Little girl named Arabelle.
Even or odd? Luck check on whether or
Even.
not she puts the connection together. Okay. She goes, "Oh no. You said a young girl, one of the Vistana?"
Yeah, about 7 years old. Yakobachi can give the
Um,
quick description.
Bright green eyes, young,
mhm.
vulnerable.
Young, vulnerable, murderable, kidnappable.
Perfect
You
for
see,
type of bait.
she glances over at the boys, and there's no words exchanged, but you see Bray, his attention starts up even though he's not looking at her. He kind of snaps to make eye contact. Eyes flick back and forth a couple times, and the two of them grab their cards and run up the stairs. Um, oh, I should have seen it. Well, I have unfortunate news and perhaps a lead. I'll be brief, in case this is as time sensitive as I'm afraid, but Yevgeny Krushkin came in this morning, carrying a rather large sack over his shoulder, which I assumed must have been full of some sort of new, well, quarry of his. He met with Soldar not long ago, and the two of them headed north. I overheard them muttering something about, well, with this proper sacrifice, the lake is sure to give up a bounty. Uh,
We should hurry.
yes. And you can see she is, like, immediately putting stuff away. Uh, as quick as you can, I'll follow close behind. I have to let Owen know where I'm headed. And you see her duck into the back room. Perception checks. Wow, those are quite good.
Wow.
Uh, so, at the very least, Erver and Ayakabachi both definitely hear a somatic component. Or a verbal component, I'm sorry, not a somatic component. You wouldn't hear a somatic component unless she was drumming on her chest. Um, and there's a sound that's like kind of zips away. I think you'd probably recognize it as the equivalent of ascending. But yeah, Irina is immediately like already halfway out the door. As she ducks into the back, Irina is just running for it. And she'll hold the door and call, Lake Zarovich is north of town. That has to be what they're talking about.
Yeah, I think Irving just immediately is a full on like as fast as he can maintain.
Okay?
I'm gonna dash.
Double full
Okay.
march or
You
whatever. Like
are
we
very
can't
quick.
actually sprint the whole way there, but
You can.
and yeah, Romir could definitely like beat the fuck out of all of us
Yes. He will
if he
arrive
wants to
well
go
before the
ahead.
rest of you if you want to go alone. Can anybody keep up with 60 feet per round through other means?
No. Or well, full move is 60 feet.
That's a
Yeah,
full
60
dash.
feet
Unless I want to
functionally based.
blow
So Ralmir's actually 90.
spell slots.
Let's see.
Up to you.
You turn into a cheetah.
I could turn into an elk, which is quite fast, and someone could ride me.
That is true.
And long strider.
And long strider if I have it prepared. I think I might have not done it today because we were doing a lot of RP stuff. I don't have it prepared, so I can still go. I can go as an elk, I can go 50 feet if I dash. That's 100, and someone can ride me.
So basically,
Well,
you're looking
Alright.
at
what do you
3
got?
of you.
Gnarly, what do you got prepared today?
What do I have prepared?
Yeah,
Yeah, do you have anything that can make you go fast?
not even go fast. Does he have something that
Oh,
might
that
help
can.
in water?
Yeah. Are you in combat mode or non-combat mode? I
Oh,
guess
I
is the
also
question
be,
there.
Non-combat.
I can
But
also
all
be
I need for combat is fireball.
right, and I can become a fish too, of some kind, some type of one half CR fish.
Mhm.
At Misty Step, that's about the only thing that would help.
I have hold person and calm emotions.
Oh, you mean just like in general? I got like on my summon stuff and my heals and my all that stuff. I just
If I come
didn't take.
across with that body, I could talk to it.
I just took some separate like buffing buffs because
I'm thinking more like underwater breathing, water walking, sleep.
I got sleep. I do have
I have
sleep.
water walking or water breathing. I just become a fish who can breathe water. But I could always, that's a future thing.
Arla could put someone to sleep, that's for sure. Give them the old, chokehold.
If you go elk mode, I was wondering which one of us should go on your back then, if it was Irvi or Narlug.
And I'm
feel
just
like
going to assume you're kind of hashing this out while you're running.
yeah. I think
Nah,
sleep is probably better than hold person or calm emotions.
Yeah, I could definitely battle if we got thrown down. I got nothing. I got no problems with that. I also took dispel magic if there's some rituals we need to stop or try to dispel. Maybe that would help. And like past a lot of traits, I got my normal stuff. I got enlarge reduce. I mean, I could become an elk.
Irvi will say
big
to
as
That's
shit.
true.
2 of you ride me.
Wait, or what
Yeah,
if
how
you
long does
like?
enlarge reduce last? Because you don't have that far to go.
Yeah, and what if you can like make like the kid like giant?
Giant child.
Giant
Uh,
children are harder to kidnap, but the kidnapping has already occurred.
I could. I mean, if you don't want to wait, I don't know how your spell slots are looking like, Narla, because I think I used my enlarge reduce already. I have 2 level 2s left, but I could
I
become
mean,
an elk.
Irina's
You could make me
not moving
big.
fast. So Irvi will say just take Narlug, and
Okay.
Tim and Irina will catch up.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm gonna save the spell slot.
He's not gonna leave her by herself if you could take all of us.
Yeah. He will stick with you then, Irvir, and you will both keep running. The rest of you, if you're going elk and sprinting Rolmir,
I don't know what elks sound like.
you're really only looking at like, I think it's less than a mile. This doesn't have the scale. Hang on, let me double check. Why are you so laggy today? Let's see. So it is 3 hexes. Oh, it's like literally 3/4 of a mile from Valaki. So if you're sprinting, you would make it fairly quickly.
Like 2 minutes.
Like, yeah, within minutes. Hang on. So what's that? It's like rounds. Yeah, like 2.5 to 3 minutes. With the rest that are just running, would probably arrive like, yeah, a minute after that. So 10 rounds. So you take off like the wind. Rolmir, you are fast. You've seen it in combat, but the fact that you can maintain this pace at a dead sprint is extremely impressive. You might not be the beefiest lad around, but when it comes to moving quickly, you've certainly got that. And with Narlug riding on the back of an elk, you make swift time through the north gate of town. I assume not even really stopping for the guards, just sort of barreling past, leaving Irvir and Irina to explain.
Not even. I don't think we even stop. I think we'll be right back.
Fair enough. Just like no
Gotta go, be
time.
back soon.
Yeah. But you make it through the fairly well-traveled footpath that leads to the shores of Lake Zarovich quite quickly. Let me make sure I actually get the description here. assuming that it fucking exists. Do.
Is that orc riding an elk? I've never
Right?
seen that in my life.
So majestic.
Oh, this would actually not be there. It would be here. Uh, sorry. What the fuck? I'd opened this earlier and it closed on me. Alright, fuck it. We're gonna do it off the top of my head because I at least remember what goes on in the encounter. You sprint through the early afternoon, or well, midday, I suppose. You know, patchy woods and over this well-trodden path to reach a expansive, perhaps surprisingly so, shoreline. But dead ahead of you, sort of along the edge of the fog-ridden bank, a narrow and well-worn dock extends over the water. There you see Soldar Zodarovich, still holding the end of the mooring rope that would have been anchoring a small rowboat that you currently see Yevgeny Krushkin holding a large bag over his shoulder while attempting to paddle with one oar, apparently not having thought this out particularly well. He looks to be several dozen feet off of shore already, but you can hear Soldar as you run up to this, yelling, uh, not much farther to go now. You must be at least, perhaps 200 feet from shore to make sure it is the true depth. And Yevgeny yells back, well, then you come and row. And neither one of them, until you're kind of like right up on them, really recognizes that you're even there for them. But both of them seem to have grins on their faces. Not so much, uh, shall we say, like a wicked or overly malicious look in their eye, but a drunken shine and rosy cheeks kind of grin. Find yourself somewhere on the southern edge here. Please.
Big ass oak. I love it.
Right? I like that you've got
Turn
that
into a
ready to
fish and I
go.
can enlarge you.
Big fish.
I don't have a fucking. I was gonna say like a crocodile or something, but I don't have that ready to go. I'm a scrub.
That's okay. Yeah, Romeo, go ahead and drop yourself down there.
Oh, yeah.
And we are going to go directly into initiative because things are in progress here. So I'm going to... Yevgeny is going to act on 0, but I meant to roll initiative for Soldar. There we go.
This is my little placekeeper.
All right.
This is my little placekeeper, Yakubachi. Don't worry about him.
Yeah. I understood. I like how he's peeking out over the edge of the map,
Just a
though.
little bit.
And yes, we're going to pick up at the top of initiative again as they're bantering and bickering back and forth about rowing more. You would probably hear Soldar again yell out something to the effect of, the hunt this will bring back to these lands, the bounty, will finally have meat again. And we're going to go with Narlug.
And I'm gonna hop off the elk. That's far as hell.
Yeah.
30 feet. Where is the? I could hit him with magic missiles. That's pretty funny.
Oh, Soldar? You could.
but then we're not gonna be able to get
Depends
him back.
on, yeah, I was gonna say it depends on how lethal you want to be. Because I will point out, they're hunters, but they're not adventurers. They did kidnap a
Starling's gonna
child
dash
seemingly
and run
with the
his.
intent
If
of,
they're not adventurous, that means they don't have class levels, Snarlug, and you know what that means. They don't have a lot of hit die.
they could have
You just
NPC
sleep
class
him.
levels, but yes. You could, yeah, if you want to just sleep him.
Yeah, I'm gonna sleep the one on the dock because I can't reach the other one yet.
I was gonna say,
Okay.
if you move, what's the range on sleep?
90. But I don't know if they'll get me close enough. Let's see.
Well,
Yeah,
you can
you
move
just
30.
Yeah, you just
5,
showed me 30.
20, 25, 30. And let's see.
Good old 5e diagonal movement.
Yeah, he'll
Yeah.
be in there. We'll sleep his ass.
Okay.
The bags, you said it's over his shoulder, right? Not over the water?
He's kind of holding her up. So, as I was just about to say, you can do that, but he might drop her. I'm going to have it be a luck check, just so you know. You get the feeling he's probably going to drop her soon anyway, but.
Right. Do it. Send it.
Okay, so you're just going to fire off a sleep out there? 18 on the roll. There's no save. Well, you have Granny Krushkin with less hit points than that. Oh, wait. It starts. I need to see the description. Starting with the creature that has the lowest current hit point. Each creature affected by the spell falls unconscious.
So whoever's in the
Let me
bag.
check. Da, 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 da. Okay. Arabelle has 2 hit points. Yevgeny has
Don't I get to
60.
choose them?
No,
No,
it's from
you
lowest
don't.
to
It
highest.
It's
starts
just
with the
creatures within.
lowest. However, with 18, that's exactly enough to put both of them to sleep.
That's hilarious.
Even or odd.
Odd.
I rolled a 6. Unfortunately, that means that as he begins to slump forward, he loses his grip on the bag, and it does fall into the water. She
So
was
now we got
asleep when she went
sleeping
in.
kid in water.
Yes. Well, she was asleep when she went in, but I do think that a splash into a cold lake would wake you up just as effectively as someone taking their action to shake you. However, she is tied in a burlap bag. So you see splashing. Okay. Anything else you would like to do, sir? You have a bonus action.
uh, no useful bonus action for this, so no.
Fair enough. Soldar sees you run up, say some arcane words that he doesn't understand, and Yevgeny, as far as he's concerned, well, let me luck check again. I'm gonna say even for myself. Okay. I think he understands Yevgeny's not dead, but you're still trying to foil his plans. Um, which means he's going to yell at you. Um, You don't understand the importance of what we do here. This will feed the town. And he is going to drunkenly stagger at you and is going to attempt to multi-attack you with his short sword. Whoops. Does a 12 hit?
Yes.
Okay. Please take 3 piercing damage. And then a 23 to hit, which deals 6 piercing damage.
Oh, that one hits.
And you can see he is hammered. Like full on drunk. And presumably Yevgeny was as well, in order to talk each other into this plan. But he kind of sways where he stands, and you can see, again, he's not really thinking this plan through. You guys fought Strahd in front of the town. He's just a guy. But we are going to move to Rolmir's turn.
Okay. So it seems like he's going to be in the way, and I believe I can do this. Where's my ruler at? Oh, that's actually exactly 30 feet. Okay. So I'm gonna move here, and I'm gonna attack him.
Okay.
Get him.
Just so.
You have the flank.
Yep. So and then I get sneak attack is up.
Yeah, very much so. Are you attempting to kill him or attempting to incapacitate him?
I am going to incapacitate him. I don't want to kill him yet.
Okay. In which case, just so you know, it is disadvantage. However, you already rolled 2 dice. We're going to take the first one because it would cancel out your advantage. Which means you don't get sneak attack when you are trying to incapacitate him. But roll your
Okay.
normal damage, please.
Okay. Quick sneak attack.
13?
Still max.
Uh, okay, let's see. So, you are able to, like, basically like stab him in the hamstring or something, enough to cause like severe pain, but trying not to cause a lethal blow. And he actually does not go unconscious from that, but like you get a proper howl of pain even through the drunkenness, and you can see he staggers and almost goes down with that. And looking between the two of you, even in his drunken state, may be reconsidering his actions here. Is there anything else you'd like to do with your bonus action?
Let's see here. What I could do is, just in case Narlug wants. So if say like I give Narlug the advantage though, because I could do like the range thing, and if he like tries to incapacitate him too though, would that just even out the disadvantage?
Yes. It would take any, because Narlik would take disadvantage, you'd grant advantage and becomes a neutral roll.
Okay, I'm just gonna give Narlug advantage
Okay, fair enough.
and just tell him just
Um,
bonk him in the head, but don't kill him.
I could just sleep him.
Oh, yeah,
True.
that too.
If you want to burn the spell slot. In that case, we are up to Ayakobachi, currently in Elk Express form.
Elkobachi will
Elkobachi!
he will run up. I'm gonna use dash to get 30 feet here to get a running start. Can I try to avoid some difficult terrain like jump? My strength's 16, so can I get like 15 feet into this water as a big ass elk?
Yeah, I would think so.
Like right
I
there.
assume an elk doesn't have a swim speed?
It does not. So that'd be difficult terrain in this place.
Okay,
You know,
yes.
kind of like ever seen like a horse run through water? You know what I mean? It's kind of like up to.
Oh, for sure. And well, that's the thing. Horses can swim, and I think elk can swim as well.
I think they definitely
but
could walk
it's,
through some pretty deep shit.
Yeah. Mhm.
But so that would be a total of.
In fact, because you're large, I would even give you another 5 feet if you want, because
Okay.
that first 5 feet is shallows, which would only be about knee deep on a
The math is a
normal
lot easier
medium
with 5
size.
more feet because now I only have
Yes.
25 feet of movement, and I'll go right there, and then
Okay.
that'd be 5, 10, 15. Okay, then I will use my bonus action to change back into Yakobachi.
Okay.
Just use that for the movement, and I'll be like right
Sure.
there. And I'm swimming.
Works for me. Okay. Now that you are closer, you can see and hear kind of like muffled whimpers coming from the bag, and you can see that she is struggling to stay above the surface. Again, she's blind, tied up. Not that she herself is blind. She's blinded by being in a burlap bag. On initiative 0, his turn. I roll to see if she begins to sink. You are lucky. She manages to stay above water this round, and therefore does not begin to drown. Yevgeny continues to sleep, and the boat kind of drifts like 6 or 8 inches further into the wake. Narlug.
Narlug's gonna sleep this moment.
Okay. Your minimum sleep is going to affect him, and I don't think any of you have low enough HP to be at risk, but go ahead and roll it.
I'm not at risk for it. Unless he rolls a 45.
Right?
Oh,
No.
crazy.
Narlug just, again, same spell, rattles it off real fast, and like turning off a light switch, he just slumps over, bleeding from his thigh. Um, so the two have been incapacitated.
Okay.
Is there anything else you'd like to do on your turn?
I'm gonna yell the Ikabachi and cheer him on. You can do it. Swim faster.
Fair enough. Soldar is asleep. Romare.
Okay. Well, I am going to. So I still have a little bit of like. Can I like hog tie him with like a spool of wire?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
You probably have rope as well if you wanted,
If
Pretty
but if you
sure
want to
you.
use the wire,
I'm pretty sure
Did I
you
have-
have manacles.
Oh, is
you
There's
that what?
actually might. Yeah,
there's rope on the boardwalk.
Manacles are like handcuffs.
there is also rope
Oh,
on the
okay.
boardwalk.
Because what I want to do though is if we do get her back, though, I want to bring these two with them.
Yeah. I assumed.
Yeah. So.
I don't know if you heard Ervir, but yes, there is, and I
Oh,
described it
I
in the
do. I
opening.
do.
There's rope there too.
Yeah, I do have some rope on me too. I didn't. Do I have? Oh, I do have them. I have one of them. So I have one of them, and then I could just tie up the other
Manacles
one.
is like a pair. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I only have one of them. So.
Okay. Fair enough. So yeah, you take your action to apply manacles to him. Sounds good to me. Is there anything else you would like to do?
Uh, no, I don't think there's really any bonus actions that I could really do that would be useful. Because
Fair enough.
um, yeah, fuck, I'll get Narlock advantage again.
Okay. Uh, then we're off to Akabachi. And man, that math really did work out better with that extra 5 feet, huh?
Yeah, right.
Because now your half move takes you to her.
Basically, but I'm thinking what I'm gonna do is I'm going to use my bonus action to cast, or not cast, but to summon my spirit totem, and
Okay.
I'm gonna give this supposedly little girl in a bag, but person in a bag, I want to give them advantage on athletic checks, so that maybe it helps them break out of this bag and or swim
Oh,
and not die.
each creature of your choice. Wow.
Ooh,
Very clever. I like that.
so let's get rid of this fucking thing, and this is a bear. Roar! And we and her
All right.
both get 6 temporary hit points. And then, or 7, whatever level we are. And then I'm going to use my action to change into Crocobachi and become a crocodile. And I'd be bigger. I'd be like large size. So
Okay.
I'm going to use 15 feet to get underneath her and try to like put her on my croc
Basically, like
back.
put her on your head
Yeah,
or your
something.
back.
Like
Yeah.
wherever I can balance her and then move 15 feet back with her. Because I have 30 feet of
Okay.
swim speed with the croc.
All right. I'm trying to decide. I feel like there should be a skill roll associated with balance
Slide of
flailing small girl on your head as a crocodile.
Sleight of nose.
Yes.
No, it's
Sleight of snout.
Yeah.
Um. Yeah, I feel like either athletics maybe or
Let's see who's better.
acrobatics. Your choice. Probably gonna be athletics as a croc.
Acrobatics. I'm better at acrobatics as a Yakubachi, and I get to keep my proficient or whatever.
Oh,
I'm
you
good
get to keep
at.
your bonuses. I forgot.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go with that one, and we'll roll that. 11.
Okay, I was looking for a 10. Again, given you are big. um, and yeah, I guess you can't really say anything to her. Um, but yes, you have her. Whoops, we probably want that
You like that?
kind of more like that. Okay. She continues to flail, but you have her in a position where she's not at risk of drowning. And I think you probably catch some choice swears, coming out of this bag as she flails, like, something to the effect of, "Let me go, you gross old bastard, how dare you fucking put your hands on me." This girl is 7, and you're hearing F-bombs. But she does kind of live with a bunch of carnies.
Just thinking Ruth from Ozark.
There you
Yeah,
go.
pretty much. Yeah, actually. Just like the most foul-mouthed, like flailing and swearing and demanding that he lets her go. Having not fully excellent crocodile doodle, by the way.
Yep.
Having not fully realized her situation. Uh, you, you know what? Fuck it. You can have an inspiration for your Crocobachi
Kakobachi.
rendition there.
Oh yeah.
But yes, then we come back to Narlog. You seem to have things mostly in hand here, but yeah,
Um,
There is still a man adrift in a boat.
yeah, screw that guy. I'll wake up and drift back.
Crocobachi going back for a snack in a moment.
Right.
He's way too far. Yeah, he's gonna cheer him on. Can't do
Fair
nothing.
enough. All right, so you're just kind of holding. Same thing from you, Relmir, or is there anything
Yeah.
Hurry
else?
up, Crocobachi.
All right.
Yeah, same thing. Go
In that
Crocobachi.
case, Ayakobachi, I'd like one more athletics to see if you can balance her
Yeah.
here.
I'm
Although,
gonna move
Wait,
this bad boy some feet, and this
wait,
time,
sure,
I wasn't far enough to give him like the range advantage,
and
right?
this time,
no, and
I
it's advantage on attacks, isn't it?
Oh yeah, that's
yeah,
right. It's not on like any roll.
Hmm.
I'm gonna use my
Yeah,
dash, but because I have this damn buff, let's athletics. I have advantage because I have advantage on strength
fair
checks.
enough.
So let's do that. I do roll. I'm so bad at it. Watch, it's gonna be horrible. Oops.
Right,
She got
2
sacrificed.
nat ones.
I'll take a nat
No,
20.
that is a 2 and a nat 20.
I'm
So with
just
the
like
nat
balancing.
20,
I'm balancing
yeah,
like on my snout, like doing like some
I was gonna
tricks.
say a little bit of style to it. Got some swagger in that croc swimming. But yes, you're able to take your full movement
It'll be
to.
60 feet of swimming speed with a dash.
Yep. So able to kind of like, not particularly gently. Not that I'm saying you're causing her any damage or anything. Although she has her bonus HP from your freaking buff. Kind of like, toss or roll the bag onto the ground where it is dry. Um, are you going to stay a croc, or what would you like to do? We can kind of go out of rounds here,
Yeah.
but at this point, you have both of them asleep, which will last for, I think, another 8 rounds, 7 rounds.
I'm gonna. Oh god, I ruined it. I'm
Yeah,
going
duration 1
to
minute.
basically swim back and get that guy in the boat. Try to drag that boat over here.
Okay, fair enough. So with that, and unfortunately the boat itself is not a token. I just
Yeah.
whipped this map together.
Mhm.
You are able to swim back out, basically nudge the boat back around and push it in. Like I said, you've got 7 rounds. It's plenty of time. It sounds like you've got Soldar and Manacles. Would you guys like to restrain Yevgeny as well?
Yes.
Okay. In which case, I think, after those 7 rounds are running up, this is when both Ervir and Irina would be arriving. Are you letting her out of the bag right away, or are you kind of waiting for her to calm down or talking to her first?
I'm a crocodile,
Um.
so I'm just gonna stay over here.
You are a little
Um.
scary.
Well, I'm gonna just mention.
Yeah, I'm not sure if an orc and a tiefling should be the ones opening a bag. Nor a crocodile.
Well, I'm just going to.
He makes a fair point.
That's true. At least he went all the way over here. So I'm going to try to persuade her to calm down, though. So, and I'm just going to let her
Is that just
know.
sleeper?
I mean, that's an option too. But I mean, then
Awake,
that's
asleep. Awake, asleep.
Just
so
fucking Job with the forget me nows all the time.
Yes.
I mean, I
Um.
was just gonna tell her though that we're gonna bring you back to your dad. No, so just try to just be calm and cooperate, and we're just gonna
Okay.
go and yeah, just so don't be alarmed if you see a red devil man and an orc.
You could. She like you start talking to her. She kind of goes quiet. Like, give me your persuasion roll. Okay, 17, not bad. Um. He goes. Well, I don't really have a lot of choice because I'm stuck in a fucking bag. But fine. And she kind of like stops squirming and attempting to rip her way out.
Okay, then
You're gonna
it's
hear like a little quiet "Oomph" under her breath.
okay. Okay, I was gonna tell her that I'm opening up the bag now.
Okay.
Darling's gonna ready asleep just in case you try to run.
Yeah, yeah. I was gonna like nudge you.
That's funny. All right, so you tear the bag open, and earlier this is again around the point where you guys are arriving. They changed that fucking hotkey, and I don't know what it is anymore. Um, and yeah, this. Let me go to the map player. This little girl. What is it? Control Shift Z, Shift Z. Um, like very very bright blue eyes, teeny tiny, stopping wet, and kind of like it's a very simple little dress, but you can tell it's made of decently good fabric. But she stares up at you with this like piercing, defiant gaze, despite being this teeny tiny girl, and she goes, "You really are a devil man, huh?" Uh, and yeah, I'll throw
It's,
Irene on the map too.
it's okay.
But you can see there's not fear in her face as much as there is just like
Like,
curiosity and almost
like,
defiance.
Huh, no shit.
Yeah.
oh yeah. Yep, I
Uh,
wasn't lying.
and she kind of like looks over at where you've got the two um, locals knocked out and wrapped up. She goes, "Oh, so you didn't kill him, huh?"
No, that's up to your father to decide.
Is
Uh,
it? Irvir chimes in with,
you see, Irina's kind of doing the uh, like one hand on a knee and like, oh, well, it seems you've got things in hand. And she looks over to where Ayakabachi is and kind of like jumps for a moment and then seems to recognize that that's probably you. And still
the
kind of
gods aren't
like,
known to be native to Barovia.
right, kind of like a wary eye in your direction and probably like a step closer to Irvir. But yeah, seeing that like you guys are not worried about there being a crocodile right there, I think she's probably able to put that together.
Irvir, for the second time in 10 minutes, looks genuinely surprised and impressed. Like his
Holy
entire
shit,
perception of
these
everyone is
guys are
shattering.
competent. They didn't murder him. They saved the girl. The croc is behaving.
I mean, we can still rob them.
That is true. Uh, let me see if they
I'll
have
sprinkle a little
anything
bit of
to
the boys back in there.
do. That's too funny. Let's see.
Yagobachi's making like that face a dog makes, like looking at the guys and like looking at them like I'll eat that.
You them boys.
Like, just say the word. I'm looking hungry. Real hungry look on his face. Like I said, I
Just
Look
didn't
at
get
that
lunch.
prey.
I didn't get lunch, so.
just in case you need to use it again,
They are
Zach,
hunters.
yeah, I'll screenshot of that for you.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. That's better than the one I took. I love it. But yeah, I think she just kind of like grumbles that, well, I certainly know what Dad's gonna decide. But yeah, Irvir going, is it up to him? I think is a fair entry into this conversation. Well, go ahead, Irvir.
I think he would just kind of let that be his entrance and gauge the reaction of everyone else off of that. But if no one really says anything, mention like they do deserve to be punished, but they have been providing a service to the people of Valaki. That might be, while a lot of people would argue, and I might even argue under different circumstances, that maybe that would be a fitting punishment, but they can't really come to terms with their mistakes and truly repent if they're dead.
Um,
Hard to pay
I
compensation that way.
I think Arbel looks right at you, Irvir, and goes, atonement's bullshit. I see you kill him now and get it over with. You won't have to drag him back that way.
So it's not really bullshit, but if they don't have their whole natural lives as intended, then where they end up in the afterlife wasn't really fair.
I mean, it would have been fair to her.
No, it wouldn't have been. That's why I'm very happy that we stopped this.
And again, she kind of crosses her arms and just glowers at you, but she keeps quiet. She does recognize that there are a whole bunch of adults and she is still a kidnappable child.
I think first things first, let's get them on Gobachi
Oh, just
and start
I've
walking
never
back.
seen an elk, but I don't think that's an elk.
That flashbang me. Did that flashbang anyone else? It
No.
like made my screen flash white when he moved it. It was like a legitimate Crocobachi jump scare.
Ah!
I mean, you could ride him on. You could just put him on top of him. I'm pretty sure he's long enough. They're incapacitated.
I will also just do this to show them as gently as I possibly can. But if I,
Put it in your mouth.
yeah, I can bite them and carry them in my mouth. At least one of them.
I can enlarge you as Alkobashi.
That is true. I think her reaction again to the croc wandering over is similar to Irina's, which is like, this is still a gigantic predatory lizard that neither one of them has seen before, and they both take kind of like a half step back. But Arabelle kind of like tries to cover it with like a little turn away and a as you're loading them up.
Regardless of what we do with these two, let's get her back to her dad, yeah?
What time?
Yep. I mean, still
And
want
he'll
to take.
look to Arabelle and ask if she's all right. Can she walk?
Yeah, Gnarly's gonna enlarge Alkobachi, and you can do with it as you please.
I think
Just
she
a
kind of
giant
like
gator.
takes her hair and kind of like squeegees it out and like gives her dress a shake. Kind of rolls her shoulders and I can walk just fine. But you see, there's not like a lot of addressing the "Are you all right?" Keeps a wall up. And Irina goes, "Well, I'm sure that you can, but Crocobachi is multiplying. Are you drawing bigger Crocobachi?"
Yes, just keep going.
Kind of cocks her head and goes, Well, I'm glad you're able to walk, but let's make sure you get back to town safely, okay? Um, and we'll kind of walk over and stand next to her, kind of within arm on shoulder and or grabbing by the scruff range if necessary, if this kid tries to cut and run. Um, and I think you can see Arabelle clock what's going on there, but again recognize that she's smaller, weaker, and surrounded, and just kind of nod. And she will follow along. Oh my god, it gets angrier.
I think Irvir will try to walk in front because as they approach town, he does not want. He wants to be seen before the crocodile is seen.
That is a very fair point.
The large crocodile. This thing's huge as fuck.
Saved for
It is
posterity.
a 3x3. I tried to make it that size.
Yes,
Big old
I'm
crocodile.
impressed. You got it to fit. But yeah, and she will follow along, and the whole way back to town, you're getting questions. Everything from, so my father sent you? Which isn't technically the case. But yeah, she
I
asks,
remember
she
why
kind of
he
looks
did it.
around. Probably
It was the
too
other
proud.
one.
It was the
Yeah,
other one.
Yeah, too proud to ask for help. That's what it was.
Mhm. Um,
Irvir wasn't there. He didn't know. So
yeah,
he
that's
ain't
fair.
saying
So
shit.
she like looks around, and Irina kind
They
of
all look the
gives you
same to
the same
Narlook.
look, like over.
Sorry, crocodile can't talk while he's a crocodile, and I think he's the
Fair
one
enough.
who.
And his
Yeah.
mouth's full anyway. And he might just accidentally, like step on a rock or trip a little bit, just maybe bite down a little hard, too hard, be like, oops, sorry. Sorry about that. You taste
Huh.
delicious.
And she kind of rolls her eyes. Probably wouldn't anyway. Whatever. He mutters to herself. So, you said this guy's an orc? Looking over at Narlug.
Yes.
Where do you come
Yep.
I'm
from?
Narlook, puny little human looking thing.
Looking
Puny?
Yep.
As she rolls her eyes. You puny, she mutters under her breath, and she kicks you in the shin.
Bullet point of bloodshed
Narlook gonna
damage.
grab it.
She doesn't even have, like, literally there's no attack roll available. But she's just gonna go for it anyway. Kind of up to you whether or not it connects. Does not do any damage either way. She just kind of
And
like...
Narlook's gonna, do the little one hop skip, grab his shin, curse her. I will raid and pillage your village one day.
The fucking Tom and Jerry scream.
Right.
Oh, the top scream.
Yeah. I
Um,
ain't going that loud or that high pitched. Ain't happening right now.
yeah. She kind of harums. Kind of hard to find a village for people that doesn't have one. Always on the road, idiot.
Damn, and Narlook's gonna have to game plan. Pouch.
Right. She kind of looks at you, Irvir, and you can hear her mutter, "Boring." She looks at Irina, "Boring." What about you, devil guy? Where
Hang
you
on a
from?
second. Doesn't matter.
Adults are no fun. She grumbles along, kicking rocks, as she
Where are you
follows
from?
behind you guys.
Yeah, where are you
am I
from?
From the core, just like all the rest of the Vistani. Idiots.
Tell me
I
more
don't know
about
what
this
that
core.
means.
That's this, like Faerun is Faerun. The core is the name of this world that is shattered into all of these domains of dread. The world that connects all these stupid pockets together. Kind of like Barovia is one of. God, you guys must be from far away.
Yeah, what can you tell me about Eberron?
Haven't been. Dad went a few times, I think.
What the hell?
Well, seriously, the Vistani
How
are
much will it cost for him to
interplanar.
bring me a dragon mark?
I'll be right back.
Oh, what?
I'll tell you when you're older.
Also, obviously, I assume that's a non-canonical question anyway, because Orvir doesn't know Everon exists. But yeah, the Vistani are dimensional travelers. But yeah, you guys must be from outside the fog. Sucks for
Yeah.
you.
Some Vistani brought us here. Real unfortunate.
Hmm.
And
Not
yeah,
us
here we are
though.
anyway. Kind of crazy how that worked out, huh?
Yeah. Would be kind of racist though if you just assumed we were all the same and therefore,
Didn't you just
responsible
look
for
at me and
that.
Irina and say boring and then called him a devil man?
Well, he said he
That's
was a
actually a
devil
racial
man.
slur where we're from. You shouldn't
You
say
know, all
that.
you Vistani look the same, anyways.
He's not here to agree with her, but he did say
I
there's a
know.
red devil man and an orc. Uh, I didn't say you were boring because you were human. I said you were boring because you're boring. You're wearing a gray cloak and scale mail and carrying a longsword. You're boring.
Death isn't very colorful.
I think Irina actually probably kind of goes at that, like behind a hand. Um, but yeah, she's just like an absolutely impish little shit that just needles you the entire way back to town. And about halfway out, um, you would run into Danica. Um, and as she's kind of like running up, you notice, I think without any roll required, she's very fast. Close to Romir at full tilt fast.
Damn.
And she kind of like skids to a stop as she sees you guys on the way back. And
The Crocobachi.
yeah, I think
Giant Crocobacci.
I'm trying to decide if Danica is going to react to that, but the fact that you have your mouth full of not bitten up people and are surrounded by the rest of the party probably is enough for her to just kind of quirk an eyebrow and go, "Okay, well, it seems as though you've managed to catch the idiot twins." Um, and then Arabelle in the back mutters, "I probably use more colorful language." But Danica goes, "And I'm glad to see that you were able to save the girl. Uh, that ought to avert the worst of the political disaster this could have caused." And then kind of turning directly to her, are you all right, dear?" And she goes, "Uh-huh." And Danica kind of waits for her to elaborate, and Arabelle doesn't. Danica goes, "Right. And actually, I don't know if Frank's wearing his headset, so I should wait."
Yakubachi's just drooling at the mouth, like when you put a hot dog in a dog's mouth for a photo opportunity. He's just like,
Tell them to
when do I get to
hold.
eat it?
Yeah. Stay.
So much drool.
How horrifying. I will take this moment for a reason that makes sense once you've seen the movie. Mike, you need to go see Sinners while it's still in theaters.
Mm.
And anybody else who appreciates quality cinema should also go see Sinners while it's still in theaters.
I hadn't heard anything about it until like just yesterday. It seemed
Yes,
like the internet was blowing up with everyone talking
The,
about it.
the only thing I heard
Jake and I
about it.
went and saw it yesterday. Go ahead.
Oh, my bad. The only thing I heard about it was that Josh Allen's girlfriend is like an actress in the movie, and she gets very scandalous in the movie. So people are giving him a hard time about it, and he's just like, that's all I heard. I know it
I
sounds
don't know if
weird.
Who's
anyone was
Josh
that
Allen?
He's a
scandalous.
quarterback from the Buffalo Bills, and
Uh,
he's dating an actress who's like one of the lead roles in the movie. I don't know. That's all I heard.
I don't like going to the movie theaters anymore.
It's fair. I
It's not as a
just
spectacle as it
go.
used to be.
Like them.
Well, no, not
We go
that.
for
I like
matinees
to
on the
go
weekend.
watch movies. I do
Yeah,
not like the people that I am surrounded by in movies. They
that's
bug the
fair.
shit out of me, and I wish them death.
Mm.
Yeah, we went to a matinee with 4 other people in it on Sunday morning. So,
Chill.
um,
That's why
but
Late Night with the Devil was great because it was
phenomenal.
just me, David Frank in the theater.
Yep.
Yeah,
Fucking
That
awesome.
was
It was like midnight.
That's a good movie.
I'm bummed we didn't catch that in a theater. However, I will say there was something interesting about watching it on a TV at home
Yeah, but was
because
the
it adds to the.
CRTV.
No, it was not, but it does add to the late night show feel of the
Yeah.
segments where it's not like following them,
Yeah, in
off
black and white.
camera.
Yeah, where it's in the background. No, I watched it at home. I thought it was a really good movie.
I quite liked it. But yes, I think what I said to Jake immediately afterward, I think still holds true after a full day of thinking about it. It's the best movie I've seen since Everything Everywhere All at Once, which for me is high praise because I think that was my movie of the decade up to
And
that
both of
point.
those are beating out Nosferatu.
I think so.
Mm.
Nosferatu was really good, but I think this has more to say, if that makes any sense. And I think it also is a phenomenal, like both the tagline and the marketing kind of, you know, make it seem like more of a monster movie than it is. It's not. It is a very tense thriller that kind of becomes that. Sort of like, oh, fuck, what is it? It's not From Dusk Till Dawn, is it?
Yeah.
That
It
starts off
starts
as
as a
a
heist
very
movie.
yes, yes. That is the closest parallel that I can draw. I get all of the old vampire films kind of mixed
Yeah.
up in title. That's the closest parallel where it starts off as a human drama with a lot of tension and then suddenly kind of pivots about 2/3 of the way through. 10 out of 10, phenomenal. I think it was really, really good. And if you don't catch it in
Michael
a
B.
theater, make
Jordan in an
sure you
American
catch it.
horror film.
Yes, Michael B. Jordan and Michael B. Jordan. He plays a set of identical twins.
In dual roles as twin brothers.
But yeah, the sort of basic premise is that yes, he plays the twins. They've left the. It takes place in 1932, in a small town in the deep south,
Deep South.
a plantation town, and Michael B. Jordan's characters have made it big in Chicago and come back with big city money and want to open up a local juke joint. They want to like basically open up a nightclub,
Yeah.
and they grab um, the preacher's son, who is an aspiring blues musician, to be their opening act. But it's the tension of trying to get everything put together to make this happen in the Jim Crow South, and then
Oh,
things get real fucking weird.
now that I'm looking at this casting, I'm definitely not watching that around here. Ain't no
Well, I
fucking
wouldn't
way.
go to Markham, but we did see Get Out in Markham.
I don't.
I'm good.
This,
That'd be an awesome, any horror movie.
but not like any horror movie, like the campy
It's
horror movies. That's good for. But like
yes,
when we
Not
went
seeing
to
to go
go
see a
see the
Markham.
artsy horror movie that had no soundtrack and everyone wouldn't shut the fuck up, I was pissed.
what was that? What did
I,
you
for,
see there?
I forget what it was
Oh, wait,
called.
was it a slasher movie we watched?
Yeah,
Yeah, it was in a violent nature.
yeah.
Oh, that's a good film. I'm sorry if people were
Yeah, no, the
loud.
people next to us just could not handle it being quiet. They were talking the whole time.
That sucks.
Even though the movie had cool sound design.
Was
Yeah.
grinding my teeth for 2 hours straight.
Well, fair enough. Maybe you should all sit down and watch it once it comes to streaming, which I'm sure it will in relatively short order. They always do now.
Yeah.
But
Oh, it's already on Shudder.
really,
Yeah.
Sinners is?
Or no. I thought
Oh
you.
no,
I
no,
thought we
yeah,
were
no.
talking.
I've already seen that. I was
Oh,
talking
okay.
about Sinners,
No.
which I guess you were not here for. But yes, should
No.
see. Excellent film. Would strongly recommend. Yeah, it's just real good. Just like real good. But yes, as one final note, watching Get Out as the only like 6 white people in a theater in Markham was an experience. And I
That
caught
was
myself
good.
the whole
I
time
enjoyed
going,
that.
Right?
Do the fucking Homer Simpson into the bush.
yes. But yeah, no. And that movie does hold up. I actually watched Get Out like maybe between 6 months and a year ago, and I was pleasantly surprised that it was as good as I remembered it being. But anyway, yes, strong recommend. We'll pick back up now that you're back, Frank.
Okay.
Still here, right, Dave?
Yep.
Sorry.
I'm good.
So yeah, basically, I did keep going slightly, but to catch you up, Arabelle is continuing to be a little shit. Danica had run up to the group and just like made sure that you were all okay. But same thing. Like she asked, Arabelle, is she okay? And she's like, uh-huh, and kind of left it at that. And Danica kind of awkwardly goes, right. Well, crisis averted because if they had managed to do harm to her, she kind of looks her up and down in a irreparable way. Um, well, there might have been an issue, and we do rely upon her relatives for quite a bit coming in and out of Barovia. Um,
Can I
I'm
give
glad you
her
were
a
able to bring her back safely. Yes? What?
glance with a medicine check?
Go for it. Obviously, I assume you're trying to be like subtle about it rather than like getting down and
Probably
checking the
not super
pulse.
subtle, but not like I need you to sit down and I'm gonna
Yeah, yeah,
open up
yeah.
your eyes and shit. Just to give it a glance, like okay, what? I don't know what she's wearing. I assume very similar, like Vistani. I don't know if it's like robes or some shit.
Yeah, she's wearing a kind of like a simple dress with like a little
Yeah.
shawl, and little kind of like mid calf boots. Um,
So probably not a whole lot of skin to try and see for like contusions or whatnot, but maybe how she's carrying herself. If
no,
she's got a
although
particular like limp or weird gait.
that's a pretty good roll, and you are taking a point of it. She does limp a little bit. Looks like her right ankle might have been twisted, but she's not complaining. And while you're right, there's not a lot of visible skin. You can see that her wrists were probably bound. She's got some bruising. But no like injuries to her face or neck or anything, which are the only parts that you can really see other than her hands and wrists. And as you kind of are like looking her over more carefully, she crosses her arms and kind of stuffs her wrists into her armpits so you can't see that she's hurt.
Yeah.
And we're not talking
Her
hit
legs
point
cased.
damage.
He'll
Yeah,
he's going to though anyway. I assume it'll
fair enough.
work the same.
Yeah.
Could you do me a favor and take my hand real quick? Just need to touch the tip. I didn't like how that came out.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I was
Don't do
gonna
that
say, I
one.
think she
didn't like
goes,
that. My finger. Just take my fingertips for a moment. You'd be doing me a favor. He won't
just
grab her,
making
but
it.
as she
I was
makes
gonna say,
contact, that's
like
still like,
as you add, you'd be doing me a favor. She just kind of goes, "You're still making it weirder." Go ahead. It doesn't really matter, but I don't know. Some people like to roll dice. Um, but yeah, and you can see as she reaches out to like take your hand, and
oof, divine energy.
she's tiny, so kind of has to like. But you can see that the bruising on her wrists does very rapidly fade as you touch her with the effect from Cure Wounds, and she kind of goes, "Whoa, that felt weird, but thank you."
You're certainly welcome. That he won't
And
make a
she,
show about it.
uh-huh. And she's still kind of like giving you a little bit of a wary look, but you can see it's less like icy than it was, if that makes any sense. Uh, Danica cuts in. We should probably get her back sooner rather than later, and those two.
I assume we're already marching.
Yeah. She's just kind of like saying we should take her right to him. They're not dead, are they? Kind of mutters.
Nope. No, just knocked out.
Against all odds, they are alive.
The sleep
I'm so proud of them.
The sleep probably would have worn off after 60 seconds, so they're probably just agonizingly twitching
I
around.
assumed you bonked them on the head. They're unconscious, but
Yeah.
fine. It's probably not
Narlug's
the
got the
smoothest
Narlug
ride.
puppet bonker.
Right? Bonk them away, Narla.
I do have a puppet bonker. Bam, bam.
But yeah, well, good. Although obviously there needs to be some sort of punishment. We need them too.
Yeah. I don't know what to do about that.
And yeah,
Those
I think
politics are above me.
yeah, there's a clear like from Danica. She like tries to puzzle through this in her head. There's going to need to be some sort of concession made,
Maybe
but I don't know what it is.
the Vistani can come to an agreement on what that punishment might be. Some sort of favor that the hunters can do for them as compensation. While certainly traumatic for a young girl, at least she's okay. Only due to our very expedient timing, but
Forcing them for pelts.
And you can see Arabella's like kind of, well, when she looks over at Ervir and down at your hand for a moment, and back up at your face. As much as I'd prefer the favor that they do for us being die, it is possible that Dad might make an agreement when it comes to the pelts. A certain number of them owed at no cost. He does like a good deal. And Danica kind of throws up her hands like, I'm not sure I'm the one to be negotiating with here. We'll need to handle it when we talk to him face to face. And just kind of like shoos you towards town. Are you going to walk through the city with a gigantic crocobachi and 2 unconscious locals, or are you going to skirt around the town?
I assumed we'd go around the west side of town.
Okay.
I mean, you should send a message.
True.
But probably not the one we want. Well,
If you think dog box
is it the message we want to send now?
If you think dog box was a hell of a scam, wait till you see croc box. That shit, you're handing it over.
Is that put the money in the box or you get the croc? Is that the scam?
That sounds like extortion.
Yeah, just it's not even. Yeah, just.
It's not even a
Eventually,
con.
however long it takes to
It's
walk
just mugging
back,
people.
I think eventually I'd still longer. Yeah, after like an hour, I'd no longer be enlarged. After a minute,
It's
so I
gonna
wouldn't be
take
that
us
big
like
for that
10
long.
minutes to walk back.
So I would still be like
Yeah.
a large crocodile. I wouldn't be huge, so we could
Yeah,
probably walk around
enough to
easily.
like, yeah. Okay. So yeah, you kind of skirt your way past the town. And while like you might get an odd look from a person or two that is out and kind of cutting a wide, path to the woods to go gather herbs or whatever, or
I just mentioned, like, look
forage.
what 2 drunks we found out by the lake.
Yeah, well, I was just gonna say I don't think anybody would cross close enough to see anything other than like the tip of a scaly tail. Crocodiles are not particularly high profile, and there's kind of like waist high grass through most of this. But I think as long as one of you is plowing ahead and knocking down the worst of it, Arabelle is fine. But yeah, kind of wind your way around the town and back onto the road to the west, out of where the guards can actually see you. And eventually you would find your way back at the Vistani camp. Again, more for, I suppose you could say, theming than anything. You don't have to put yourself on the map.
I'm gonna because I can't see shit.
That's fair. Oh, it's I can turn that off. I apologize.
Oh, here's a little cool one. Look how small I am.
It'll be faster to just do this.
It's like I'm right here.
Yeah, they're 10
That's
foot
a lot of
squares.
horses.
That's a lot of horses. And
Look
also,
at
I
all
think it's
those chickens.
kind of dumb the way that that's represented because that's not how they'd actually be. But each wagon is pulled by a team of horses, so you got horses. But regardless, you wind your way up the hill, and I think it was Ayakobachi that took the job, right?
I did.
Okay. You're staying a croc the whole way?
Up until the point I walk into the tent, and I'm gonna change
Okay.
back as I'm walking in, make it look real cool. Like, what? Is there's a croc in our tent? Psych. It's me.
Are the guards gonna like get that close?
I was
There's
gonna
a croc.
say, I think the guards, and there's really only one outside each of the Dusk Elf houses, except for at the south with Casimir. But they would certainly give you like a side eye, but they did meet most of this group, and seeing that you guys are just kind of wandering up and not panicked about the fucking crocodile, I
Yeah,
think,
I'll walk by and do a little like croc wave. You know, just be something that a croc wouldn't normally do. Like, why is this croc waving at me?
Wait,
yeah,
like,
the
Why is the
or like,
crocodile doing the Charleston?
right. Well, the guard's just kind of like,
just have like,
uh,
just wink with like one of your big crocodile
and
eyes.
waves back. Yeah, ever been winked at by a crocodile? But yeah, he kind
Conjure
of like
top hat.
watches you go by, and you can almost see the gears turning, and him decide, not my problem. Uh, as you wind your way up the path, and yeah, I think the horses probably are a little bit anxious about all of that. But you know, you're able to kind of push your way through and spit them out into the tent. And Ergel and Luvash are kind of only half awake. It is early afternoon at this point, and well, they were starting to
Crashed.
pass out when you ran into them in the morning. But like, you know, at the noise of one of the Vistana waking up and screaming and attempting to backpedal and crab walk away from this thing as fast as possible before being even fully awake, I think they'd both jolt. But then you kind of and turn back into Ayakobachi.
Yeah, so Yakobachi's gonna be turning back, and then like as the man's in his mouth, he'll just slowly get less, and eventually it's just like a sleeve on his arm, and then he'll be like, got your got the guy who stole your girl or your small prey, your doe or your cub.
You don't.
Your dough.
Your
Uh,
fawn.
Fawn, yes. Um, and yeah, there's like a look between the two, and you can see uh Luvash looks relieved, but Argal looks angry, but not at you, at Luvash. And there's a quick exchange of words in that like weird you've heard the actual Vistana language before, or
Mhm.
it like kind of bears a resemblance to common in cadence, but not easy to understand. Um and then there's, you know, a back and forth, and there's definitely angry faces on both, but Aragol just kind of ends with Lather and turns to the rest of you. Well, interesting. A job complete that I did not know was asked. But then he looks past
Saving a little
you,
girl's not a job. It's only right.
and he looks at you, and he hasn't met you yet, but he
No,
looks at the rest of the group and kind of goes, "This is not the place for the sanctimonious sort."
I'm not trying to be sanctimonious. I'm just saying what it is.
And I am thankful for you doing the right thing. Even if I wished that I had been informed. Luvash kind of like puts his hands up like, hey, don't look at me. Um, and despite this, again, like barely restrained anger, kind of vaguely directed, and just you were the convenient guy, Ervir.
Yeah, shoot the
He, he,
messenger.
he turns to Arabelle and kind of, um, you know, big smile. You can see again this like immediate flip in emotion you've seen from him a couple times. Big wide smile. Ah, my darling, come to Papa. And you can see she kind of looks at the rest of you and sticks her nose up and starts to walk, and gets like 3 steps, turns around and says, "Thank you," and offers the tiniest little curtsy. And will turn and walk back towards him.
Oh, I'll reach into my bag. I'll be like, tiny pubescent / breeder or hunter, uh, this is yours, and I'll give her dial back.
She'll take the doll, and I think all three of them kind of go, huh? Like at that rambling string of descriptors. She goes, snatches it out of your hand and kind of like checks it over to make sure it's not damaged in any way. Tucks it under her arm and goes, thank you for keeping her safe, even if you were a weird lizard monster. And walks over to her dad and stands at his side. And he reaches down and puts a hand on her shoulder. Well, you have returned my girl to me, and for that we are all thankful. As I'm sure Alexei will be extremely thankful, he says, casting a glance over in the corner to where you can see the young man that he was whipping the last time you were here, fully asleep still, but it does seem they've at least kind of bandaged his wounds. Um, and what can you tell me of these two and how they were related to the disappearance of my daughter? Um, and Irina and Danica kind of share a look, and Danica goes, well, we haven't quite determined why, but it sounds as though they were responsible for taking her at least. And she looks to the group and kind of is like,
No drunken rambling nonsense about sacrifice to give a bounty of meat to the Valky people.
yeah, there's
Sounded like
another.
some superstitious nonsense.
Hmm.
He says, praying to Sky Daddy in the back of his head.
Hmm. He thinks. And you can see there's a muttering exchange between him and Luvash again. And Luvash just kind of in common this time. It is unfortunate how often this happens. Locals seem to think that just because the fog does not bother us, that we must have some direct sway. That our blood is magical. And Arabelle just quietly, fucking idiots. Aragol crosses his arms and stares down at them. What would you have me do, daughter? He looks up at him. She looks over at all of you with kind of like a considering look.
Ruby will raise a brow.
She looks right at you and kind of like narrows her eyes. These two idiots are hunters. We've traded with them before. As much as I would be very happy to see you take their hides from them, perhaps it's a better investment if you insist that henceforth some of their stock becomes yours for free in repayment for the favor of your mercy. And you can see he looks down at her with the biggest, proudest smile on his face. And he crouches down, takes her cheeks in his hands. Oh, daughter, you truly understand. The short-term joy of watching their blood spill would never pay as much coin. And she kind of grins at him. Very well. And he turns to Danica. I know you. You are the tavern girl, yes? Tavern owner. Thank you very much. We will keep them for now. I hope you can understand if we have a little bit of fun at their expense. No harm, at least physically, shall come to them. And once we have hashed out the terms of this new agreement, they will be returned to the city in one piece. And he looks at them, seeing the blood,
Watch out for that
as
one,
we
though.
found
He
them.
didn't really get treated that much.
Mm-hmm. We
Figured
will
you'd let it
ensure that he
stew.
does not die. Um, is this agreeable? And he looks to the group.
I'll say
Nod
that
on that.
you should probably at least whip him as bad as you did Alexa. Maybe a little worse. That's just what I think.
You can see there's a moment where there's a very cruel smile on his face. And he does look down at them. I don't think this one could take the amount of whipping that Alexei did. He is a very stout boy. The other, though, well, we could add a few marks to his hide. And I think Arabelle would go, no, no need. I think it would be more fun if we told them you were going to execute them. Let them stew on it for a while, and then let them go. No whipping required. Seemingly looking back over at you for a brief second, Ervir, with a little wink. And,
He'll give a
well,
subtle smirk.
decisions will be made when they wake up, or at least shortly before. But for now, you have brought my most precious treasure back to me. And in return, well, I think a treasure would be fair. Why don't you all come with me? And he'll lead you out of the tent. And as he does, he just crouches down one more time and kind of ruffles her hair. If you wander off again, and she goes, I didn't wander off, I was kidnapped. He goes, your fault all the same. You will stay here until I return. She rolls her eyes and kind of flops down onto a, hay bale or something they've laid out as seating. And you can see her kind of making sure the doll's hair is, all in place. As he leads you out to the big, more elaborate, gold hubcapped wagon
There's just
that he had taken you to before.
there's a spared like tiny alligator tooth just like out of the wig of the doll. Like what the hell? Where did this come from? I'm
I
also lean
was
over to Narlug and I'll be like, she called me a giant lizard monster. No one's ever said something so nice about me in my whole life.
You truly are intimidating.
Become the man you see in the mirror.
amazing. Um, too funny. So yes, he will, similar to what you saw, wrap on the side of the wagon, and a different section will fold down, where we keep the good things. I will allow you to pick your choice, and you see an array of objects laid out before you. There are two chests. They seem about shoebox sized. Both bearing a padlock. They're slightly different. One's like a darker wood with iron banding, and one's a lighter wood. Looks a little bit plainer. Then there's also a elaborate onyx jewelry box that has gold filigree. And there is also inexplicably fitting on this shelf, almost like this is some sort of similar to a bag of holding style effect when it is folded away. There is a whole ass wooden throne with golden inlay as well as decorative gemstones, as well as some sort of fancy looking rolled up rug that seems to have gold thread and tassels around the edge.
Flying
Please
carpet's a thing, D&D.
take your choice. This is not one.
Damn it.
So out of the 5. What do you guys think?
And you could see him tap his chin.
I was gonna. Is this gotcha? Like, do we not know what's in any of these?
Well, you
Or
can
am I
tell.
supposed to assume the box is the reward?
Actually, that's kind of what I was going to go with. Is that I think he would say, in the gambling spirit of my people, no peeking. But I will tell you, each of these bears significant value.
So how many
Detect magic
boxes?
peeking?
There's 2 boxes, one that's kind of cool, one that's kind of plain. I
Yes,
forgot the
one
third
that
one.
is like a dark.
Onyx.
So there's a dark wood chest with
Onyx
iron
jewelry box,
banding.
yeah.
There's a lighter wood chest that still seems like very finely made, but doesn't have any metal banding on it. There's an onyx jewelry box with gold filigree, and this big fucking wooden throne covered in gold inlay and decorative stones, and also some sort of very fancy looking rug that is rolled up, which he will unroll for you so you can actually see it. It is rimmed in gold tassels and thread, and the actual rug itself is obviously extraordinarily fancy and well made, and seems to have a motif of a unicorn kind of like rearing up on its back legs on the front of it. And you would clock that. Just to us, a carpet does not sound like that fancy of a gift. This is something you know would be worth hundreds of gold. Just there are nobles in town that might buy it. You're not going to sell it to a peasant, but this is like a fancy art piece, not a normal rug.
What if I try peeking without opening the boxes? Does that count?
Are you asking him in character?
Yes.
Clever.
Might turn out
I
nothing.
I did not clarify, so let's see what trick you have.
I'll cast Detect Magic. See if there's anything magical among these.
And while Herbert's doing
And
that,
as you do, he kind of goes, "Bah, seen that one before," and
What-
rolls his eyes. There is something in the jewelry box that is faintly magical. Something small. You would think maybe a potion of some effect.
while Herbert's looking over the boxes without like touching them, obviously, can I look at this guy and try to like see if there's anything? Like, can he tell that he like which one he wouldn't want us to pick, or maybe which one's the most valuable, and he hopes we don't pick it.
Sure, you want to kind of study him as Ervir's looking them over.
Yeah.
Like
Okay,
it's old maid.
Insight.
I'm gonna use my inspiration on this one.
Okay. Good man. Actually using it.
Actually use it.
Ooh, very nice. Let me roll a deception because it is an opposed check. Good lord, man. You're literally a professional swindler. Okay. You can tell as Ervir's kind of going over all this stuff, he seems the most nervous about the jewelry box and the lighter wood chest.
The
The
potion
simpler
is
chest.
not in one of those.
The potion is in the jewelry box, but again, it's some low-level effect. This is not some. The box is not for the potion. The potion is in the box, if that makes sense. Like this is not some custom, elaborate thing made to contain this.
I'm sure he won't be that surprised, but Orville, I'd be like, I'm pretty sure. Do I get a school, or just that I know it's magical?
I think you would get a school. Doesn't actually tell me what's required. I'm gonna guess this is probably evocation or necromancy.
Okay.
Something
Necromancy.
offensive.
Yeah.
If it's necromancy, you probably don't want it then.
There's a very fine line that
Actually,
great clerics walk.
You cast detect magic. Also, there are some good necromancy spells.
Yeah.
Oh,
Um,
I thought it was all
false
just random
life, for
death.
example,
I was gonna say
is
gentle
just
repose
temporary hit
is
points. Gentle
necromancy.
repose, yes.
Spare the dying is necromancy.
Yes. In fact, are the resurrection spells necromancy?
It might be.
Yep.
Yeah, revivify is necromancy.
Yeah.
Um,
Makes
you
sense.
used detect magic at the winery a couple times. I think you would maybe recognize this effect, actually. Or
I
at
was also
least
gonna
a
say, is
very...
it something that I can cast?
No, but it's a very
Okay.
similar sensation you got from the potions of poisoning.
Hmm.
Oh, more poison?
Well,
Yes.
But magical poison.
I will signify that Yakubachi likes the two chests that I've learned about being like, well, I think those two would be
Mhm.
nice. What do you guys think? And just kind
Yeah,
of
so it's either the jewelry box or the lighter wood one.
The light wood one seems pretty unassuming.
That was my thinking. Like, when the fairy comes back and asks if you threw in a silver axe, but you tell her the truth, so she gives you the gold axe. You've heard that myth, right?
Yes.
very famous in Neverwinter Woods.
Yeah. Low level potion in that one. Some magical damaging effect. I'm gonna go with the lighter wooden box.
Yeah, it could be anything.
Anything
It
could
could
be
even
in
be a
there.
potion.
Exactly.
Could even be a boat.
I hope it is a boat of folding. That'd be sick.
Right. We actually found a folding boat in fucking Wild Beyond the Witchlight, which was
Dude.
way more useful than you would expect.
Folding boat, dude. It's fucking amazing.
I mean, it would have been useful trying to. We could have used it though to pick her up.
Right?
True. All right, so you are going to go with the lighter wooden chest.
I'd say so.
Yeah, why not?
Okay.
Leave it up to them.
And he sighs and fidgets. Well, you have a very discerning eye. A good choice. And he will reach into his shirt, pull out a ring of keys on a necklace, pop a small key off of it, and flick it to you, Ayakobashi.
And I'll open it. I guess we'll open it in front of him. I don't, give it an
Okay.
open.
Alright.
And he kind of can't even help himself, kind of muttering, "The great cost to pay, but no cost is too high for my darling daughter." And you open the chest, and it contains 850 gold pieces.
Holy hell.
Boys, the hunt was prosperous.
You can't even talk.
So much I've never seen it.
He starts foaming from the mouth. Box could never guess this.
But yes, go ahead and somebody add 850 gold to your inventory, as well as a small wooden chest.
I was gonna say, does that divide well to 4? You just split it.
200 plus the floating, I guess you could say 210 plus somebody gets 220.
Yeah.
Or you give 10 gold to Irina and say, go buy yourself something nice, toots.
She did run. Yeah, do 210 for everybody, and then that leaves over 10 extra. Whoever wants to just throw that in their thing.
Sure.
210.
I'll put 210.
I'll do the 220 though, so in case we needed something for bartering.
Yeah.
Not a bad idea.
Why don't you take the chest too, so you can make your claymore?
Yeah, I'm sure you can turn that into something interesting. You probably trap it so when someone opens it, it explodes in their face.
Uh-oh.
So the chest is now for the Crockbox scam, which is where
Yes.
you sell them whatever's in the box.
You put
And
a
what's in the box
shrunken
is a
crocodile in the
reduced
box.
crocodile. Yes.
Then I jump out.
And they open the
break,
box and you eat them.
break
Take
concentration.
whatever's in their pockets.
Yeah.
You're good. The box says on it, "Crocodile danger, do not open," and they go, "There can't be a crocodile in that box."
I don't know what else I expected.
Yeah, I don't know what I expected. Dead
Oh, we
dog, do
could.
not eat.
Do not eat.
Oh, you could put the We could put like, yeah, like the little drawing though on the side of the box.
Right?
That is now the second Arrested Development reference of the night. The actress that plays Maybe shows up for an episode and a half of Severance season 2, which surprised me. It was nice to see her getting work.
She was in Green Room, but that was like 10 years ago,
She
so
was in Green Room. She was actually quite good in Green Room, I felt.
I thought so too.
Oh yeah.
I'll put the wooden box in my inventory because I'll probably be trying to scam people with it because I can't help myself.
Irving will probably offer to make. I don't know how much you had spent on the breastplate, so he'll probably offer to help make up some of that from his share too, since he'll be the one wearing it.
Yeah, just buy the
You might
regular.
want to wait until you have to buy the rest of it. But yes.
Oh wait,
We got some of it. Yeah, we got to get the rest of it. Maybe we can
Um,
bargain some deals.
But yes, basically, to kind of yada yada the closing here, unless anybody else would like to do anything specific while you are here. I think, they'd be very thankful, although you can tell Aragol is like slightly stung by you picking something that was so valuable.
how do
Although I
I
will say most of them range from about 600 to 900 gold in value, so, you picked well.
how do I check my total carrying weight though? 'Cause
Oh,
that's
don't worry about it.
okay.
As far as I'm concerned, unless you're like, yeah, I want to buy 10 full barrels of wine and walk around with it in my pockets, I think
Okay.
coins per weight is kind of dumb.
Oh, that's
Especially,
why it popped up just because of.
Yes.
Okay.
You have too much gold in your pockets.
yeah, every gold is like a 0.05, so like 200
Which is
gold
like you
will
would
be
just exchange it into
Yeah,
platinum.
platinum.
exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Because I mean,
Um,
I'm only at like 123 carrying weight, so I figured.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
You're fine. Don't worry about it.
Okay.
You just got a big ass army backpack. It's just fatty, filled with shit.
Yeah.
Right.
Kind of
Plop
like
that thing
Teemo, where
down.
the backpack's as big as you are.
Right, just plop that thing down, battle stars, you start stabbing people.
Hmm.
Bam, bam, bam. Pick it up. Fuck it.
It's good. It can't like that causes exhaustion, right? Theoretically.
Technically, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, over time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
when you're over encumbered, it slows your movement speed, and then like if you stay over encumbered over the course of a day, you're guaranteed a level of exhaustion or something like that. I'm assuming when you get back into town, Danica will make change for you
Yeah.
into,
Okay.
proper coins.
Not
I
to
mean, I
mention,
don't.
you don't need to keep carrying a breastplate.
Yeah, that too.
And it's not like you're carrying like 3,000 gold pieces. Like you need
Right.
two. Just it's like
Yeah, what
200.
if you were to come across a pile of 5,000 gold, I might go,
Oh.
okay, where are you getting a wheelbarrow?
Right. Or
But
like we get a
you don't
big
need to worry
chest and
about
like
that.
one guy on each side or something.
Oh,
Something
Yeah.
like that.
I didn't even put the weight down for the breastplate because I didn't know what it was. So
It's like a piece
Probably
of
like
it.
Yeah, you're
I
solid
mean,
8
Irver will
pounds or
just
something.
carry it.
Yeah.
I'm not even close to my weight cap.
and then I get rid of the manacles, right? Since
Oh, you can take
or
them back. I mean,
okay,
they'll
I
switch
don't
out for rope.
because I didn't know if they were gonna still like use it
They're a
or
little
not. So
slobbery.
No, they had Alexei tied up. They'll just tie these guys up and give you your rope back. As silly
okay.
as it sounds, rope is not that cheap in universe, and manacles are a couple gold, which I think they would recognize. Like, you want this back before you go. Yeah. So anyway, they would be thankful. And as you guys are kind of walking past the tent again, Arabelle would give you guys a little wave. Um, and like again, no tearful thank you or anything, but a little wave and a nod seems to be like a surprising amount of thanks from her. Um, and yeah, you would wind your way back towards town, finding yourselves there in the early afternoon. Um, I think the key change that you would notice is as you are crossing back through the western gate, there are a bunch of guards putting up new festival posters.
It,
The
it,
Festival of the Blazing Sun ones are being pasted over, um, excuse me, with a Festival of the. Wait, hang on. Sorry.
the
Ah,
croc.
no, no Festival of the Croc. Sorry. Uh, Festival of Autumn's Bounty. Insisting that there will be much merriment and mead to be had by all, uh, as well as, like rambling that explains, there's to be a big feast, yada yada. All townsfolk are required to participate. There's a list of sort of things people can bring, breads, vegetables, baked goods, etc. To be held in the town square 6 days hence.
Is a friendly guard around?
Yeah. Sorry, one second.
I'd like to pull him to the side and ask if that's when they are planning the
Yeah,
execution,
Mikkel, the guy that you would know.
and try to make it so it's not loud.
Yeah, you kind of have to like pull away. And he goes, "Oh, yeah, unfortunately, honestly, doesn't quite seem an executable offense to me. Um, but as far as I understand it, that's to be the sort of wow factor for this event, sort of like how the burning wicker sculpture was supposed to be for the last, and the parade of the wolf's heads on pikes were for the one before that, and, well, you get the idea. There's always something that's sort of the center of the festivities, and this time the Burgomaster wants that to be, yeah, a hanging, I think.
I'll be damned if I let unjust murder happen.
Croc crash it.
Crock in a box.
We'll see what can be done.
Perrin, we've brought you this gift. Um,
I'm not against it.
Tell me why that wouldn't work.
it
No
would.
one's ever been assassinated like that before. No one will ever see it coming.
I will give you points. Nobody would ever see that coming. Um, it's so
Wait,
horrifying.
so for like shrink and enlarge, so would
Uh-huh.
that be like, so to like do like the shrink though, and then do the enlarge though, would that be 2 different spell
Two
slots?
different spells.
I would have to cast it on myself, make myself medium or small, and then Dave would have to cast it on me again to make me tiny, and then when I transform into a croc, I'll be
Mm-hmm.
small. You put me in the box, and then we both break our concentration the moment I jump out.
Yeah. And then he goes back to being Big Croc.
Yes.
Um, and I think you see him look you up and down, Ervier, because you just outright said, like, I'm not going to fucking let that happen. And he glances back at the guard shack, and he looks at you, and you can tell he's, like, afraid to even really say this, but he goes, um, I can't go against it myself, obviously. I'm afraid if I do, that it'll be me in his place, but
I understand your station.
from me and a few of the others, let it be known we'd be real thankful if you could make that be the case.
We'll do our best. Maybe if push comes to shove, take the day off.
He, you can see, thinks it over, kind of think I understand what you're saying, and it'd probably be arranged. Me and a few others. But, don't go asking yourself. I'll pass the word around.
I trust you'll know who to trust. We'll keep it quiet.
He nods. And kind of, as you've seen him do before, kind of steps back and gives you a, well, move along then.
All right, I'm going.
Um, and just like a muttered as you start walking. Thanks. Kind of the end of that. But yeah, and he strides back over to the guard post. So yeah, that's at least something. Actually, I'm going to make a note of that too.
Okay.
Oh,
So we'll
nickel.
probably make our way back to the blue water.
Uh,
Kind of debrief, I guess.
yeah. Oh god, we're running low on time again. I swear. The 2-hour sessions are tough. Okay. So you make your way back to the blue water. You could tell Danica's like been a day, even though, she wasn't directly involved, but I think she was pretty anxious, like you said, about the political ramifications of
Yeah.
all of this.
It's still a stressful situation, regardless.
Yeah. And kind of express it to you all like, hopefully they do bring them back in one piece, or at least as close to it as possible. The town really does rely on them for the meat they bring in. There's not a lot of animal husbandry around, so hunting is kind of the only option they have. Um, and thankfully, it seems like the Vistani are not as angry as they could be, which means that there was no threat of stopping trade or anything, which is very important. And as she's kind of talking with you guys, Erwin would kind of come over behind her and give her like a little bit of a shoulder rub. And she like leans back into his chest a little bit. Well, with all this drama, I think that's about as good of an outcome as we could have asked for. But I, I did not realize that there was already going to be an announcement of another festival. And kind of glances around, and there's a few patrons at this point, but leans forward to talk in a more hushed tone to all of you, which is a bit of a concern because it means that the Baron has been planning more quietly than he normally does, shall we say.
Won't
Hoping that you
surprise
pick
me.
up on what she's saying.
Yeah. I'd asked a guard about what the main event would be, and apparently it's supposed to be rather exciting this time, as we might have all surmised. So
You can
6
see
days is
6
go time.
days. Well, certainly seems like you have your itinerary for what to do here in Valaki, at least for the short term. And I can't imagine all of that excitement will take you a full 6 days.
Probably not.
And she'll look over at you, Ralmir. Dear, just let me know when you'd like me to fetch your things from storage. I know it was a bit stifling to have them all in your room, but they're at hand whenever you need them.
Okay. I mean, we'd probably need the document. Go with the documents first, though, because that seems a more pressing matter. Wait.
Nod. Of course. I'm sure Prom would be happy to grab that for you. And she'd call the older boy over and go get Mr. Rolmir's things for me. Just the scroll too. Thank you. And you hear him totter up the stairs to where their personal quarters are. And he will come back and set a scroll case down on the counter. And give you like big grin and make a perception check.
He's shitting that too.
Ooh, a 4. Okay. give you a big grin and like a little thumbs up, and wander off. Knock 1 gold piece off your inventory. Pickpocketed you and you missed
Oh, oh,
it. Um,
I'll hop tip.
Tip.
He's only 9, but he's an aspiring rogue with better stats than you would expect.
like I kind of like realize it though, and then I kind of just give him a little nod.
Not of
All right, yeah. If you're cautious enough to check your pockets, like you can see he's peeking down from the top of the stairs, and you give him like a little real recognize real look. Is what you're saying? Like
Yeah.
game, respect game.
and
Yeah.
he holds it up between 2 fingers and gives you a little wink and scoots up the stairs. His
Yeah.
mom did not notice.
When he shows me the coin, though, I just give him a smirk.
um, I love that the some of the kids in this mod are just true, shall we say, props to be in peril. But I do like that Brom and Bray are like just little impish little shits. I
Yeah.
kind of love them. Um,
Hey, I was in his shoes before.
right?
Pick-
You
pickpocketed
understand.
people.
But yeah, I think Danica would kind of ask Erwin to go handle the patrons. And you can tell he's talking kind of loud and asking people about their days and are they excited for the festival and yada yada. Kind of to make a little bit of cover so you guys can have a reasonably. You still have to kind of maintain double speak, but a reasonably open conversation here. And yeah, so I suppose your paperwork will be the first step. And then we'll have to see what happens from there. Hopefully, your dear patron is agreeable. But with 6 days, I think there's still plenty of time for everything to fall into place, particularly with what Irvir just said.
I think a
Things
few
are
of them might be sick that day.
Nods. Excellent. All the better for the numbers to be in Fortune's favor. I will make sure there's travel arrangements made for our dear friend, so he doesn't have to be the center of the festivities. We may need to move up his departure date, though, a little bit earlier. Better not to wait till the morning of. So, if it were me, we might be looking more at, I'd say 4 or 5 days to be safe. That is when your in-tab comes due again, and you might want to make a decision about whether or not you'd continue to rent. You could tell she's not actually telling you you have to pay, but that's like her excuse
Yeah,
for giving you that deadline. Of course, we'd be happy to have you for longer. It just, might be a bit crowded with all the festivities,
nod.
But we've all had a quite exciting morning. I think for now, well, how about a good midday meal? And she will kind of stand up, resume her usual, like, shoulders back, proper posture, big smile on her face, innkeeper mode, pour everybody a drink, and will ensure that Erwin gets you fed. And I guess, is there anything anyone would like to do to cap off today, as we're running out of time? But it sounds like things may get tense with the next session. So if there's anything you'd like me to particularly focus on, or anything you think the characters would be focusing on, let me know and I'll add it to the notes.
The only thing I had for the evening of this day was obviously going over to that shopkeep, still checking out that breastplate.
Right.
And I wanted to spend time, whether it would be with Webword or however, just like getting the feel for the was gonna call him the mayor, but it's the fucking
Version
Master.
Berger Master. Get a feel for like his area, see if there's any like talk of anything around the main, area. See if Isak's like up to anything, or if he's got something planned in the next. Just kind of get a feel for what they're doing. What's the vibe? I would just spy on them
Okay.
throughout the night or throughout the evening, whenever I could, be like hundreds of feet away, or maybe 100 feet away, and then use webword to kind of sneak in there and maybe just get eyes and ears on them. If maybe Narlug or somebody wants to just hang
Clever,
out with
clever.
me, maybe say we're meditating out in a field or something. I don't know.
Bring a book.
Yeah.
Also wants to visit the stockyard.
But other than that, that's all I really plan on doing for the evening. Just
All
getting
right,
some,
I
getting,
think,
getting
and
some
me
details
having
on
that in mind, like I can have that just ready to kind of
yeah.
give you at the start, which
Mhm.
saves time. Anything else that can be kind of handled in my opening narration for next session that anybody wants to do?
Can't really think of anything.
Well, we're gonna sell that scale mail, and then how much? Do we know how much
Yeah,
it
yeah,
was
yeah.
gonna cost? We could probably just kind of do our thing with that.
Yeah.
Well, that's
And
the
then
thing.
Irving will want to try to see
have an
about
answer.
getting it engraved, but depending on how long
Okay.
that shit'll take and all that,
Mm-hmm.
that's really just a flavor thing. So if it's going to be too much of a detriment, I won't bother.
No, well, so this is something that I've kind of seen. There are two interesting little homebrew things I've seen DMs talk about recently that I thought were applicable, which is kind of like this. The end of the session, like, what are things that people want to handle that might be full RP scenes but don't have that much impact that can kind of be handled as part of the, like, bridging the time passing? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, like, opening up with these are the things that you get. You might get a couple lines, but it's not like a whole huge thing. It accelerates the thing along rather. And the other one, which is I don't think fitting for this game, but is an interesting concept for a more open world thing, is um, basically like an errand or a letter or something to that effect that you want to handle, where you can just kind of between sessions send like a quick blurb, and therefore you'd get your quick like summary response at the start of the next session. So like if you're all in town, like I want to go take care of getting the breastplate engraved, right?
Yeah.
What's involved. And so you kind of type out a little description of what you're looking for, yada yada. Lets me prep a block of DM text for the new description of the item and say, you know, Irvir, you ask around, you make a connection to this merchant who sends you to this guy who is able to do the service that you need, brief description of the interaction. You get what you want for and you move on. And it takes what could be a 15-minute RP encounter that is probably not consequential and
Yeah.
condenses it down in a
Right.
similar way.
I'm for it.
Same thing when it comes to letters. Like, you can send like a 5 or 6 sentence letter off to an NPC who will give you that response back by the next session. Which lets you have that back to you and you can read it out to the table if you want or whatever, but it allows that kind of like bookkeeping mundane shit to kind of move,
Yeah.
which can be very important if you're in like a very city heavy game and there's like 12 NPCs you want to meet up with, and it keeps every session from devolving into yet another shopping episode.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I kind of like the idea of like checking in at the end, like what do you want quick summaries of at the start so that we can get to the meat of it. Because I
Yeah.
with the short sessions, I do feel like I'm very much enjoying this, but I don't
Yeah.
want you guys to feel like this is dragging.
No.
Does that make sense?
By the time we get to that 2-hour mark, it's kind of almost time that we're winding down anyway. So anything that goes over is just usually just trying to wrap some stuff up. So it's not
That's
bad
the
at
thing.
all.
I'm trying to get like 3 to 4 encounters, be that RP or combat, in per session, and I feel like we're hitting that pretty consistently. So
I mean, the combat
Yeah,
encounter
yeah,
today
those are
went pretty
decent.
smoothly.
I
yeah, I
also
mean it was
enjoy
quick
when
and
we hit
simple,
RP
but
heavy shit.
yeah,
But I don't know if that's for everybody. I know you are
I
for it. So.
love roleplay heavy games. We sometimes went months between combats in the vampires game. But I'm of the opinion that a tense conversation can be just as interesting as a fight.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
Like when you guys sat down with Lady Wachter, if that wasn't as close to a combat encounter as anything could be, without
Right.
actual swords being involved, I don't know what is.
Or having combat encounters that aren't just beat the baddie. It's like, okay, you have to do this
Right.
thing. in a certain
Yes.
amount of
I mean,
time.
Save the drowning bag.
Right.
Yeah, save the drowning girl is more interesting than just
Beat the baddies.
fireball the druids and wrap it up.
Right.
You know,
The wolf is gonna eat your horse.
well,
not to downplay the fireball. Fireball is good,
We
but
love
it
Fireball.
cannot solve everything.
well, I mean, the combat encounter though, when I prepped it and set up a bunch of traps, though, that was fun.
There was, and actually, we got through a combat encounter with like 40 enemies in one session,
Yeah.
which is extremely efficient.
It's really
so
nice when they're all in a 5-foot square in Spear Guardians range.
that is true.
Right.
And actually, counting for those, it was probably more like 80 enemies. I think it was 24 or more of those that you blew up. No, I think it was 40 something.
There are
But
40 of those fuckers in there? Holy shit.
Yep,
Oh, I
they're
was just hoping-
tiny, and the barrel was 15 by 15 by 20. So, what? Sorry,
For the
Frank.
meat.
Oh, no.
Frank.
Oh, no, that's when I was just like dashing through and backstabbing everything too, because I kept on getting advantage
Yes.
from.
You kept hiding. For the meat of next session, I guess that'll be Walmir and whoever goes with him, the Lady Wachter. We need to decide if we're going to do anything about Ezek before D-Day.
Mm-hmm. And I'll have some answers from Webbard's scouting that will help you inform that choice.
Yeah. Maybe we can lure him out with a little Irina bait, and then.
Also
That's the
true.
thing. Depending on how we go about that, though, that could trigger like a lot of ire real quickly. Like we could just get run out of town before the festival if that happens. Not that that would stop us from just walking back in necessarily, but
But
You are kind
you
of
know,
at that point where, like, if you're willing to knock some heads, like the town guard probably can't. I mean, if you will
they
still
know better.
collectively lose to
If
40
Ezek is
guards,
gone,
but yes.
that's where they're like, they fucked the commander up.
Uh-huh.
But
We don't even have name tags.
Well,
if a disguised Raumir kind of runs out very flirtatiously out of the town and leads Ezek to an open,
Well-
a tree line, and
Well,
you jump him.
That's the
So-
thing. We'd have to lure him out of town,
so-
right?
Yeah, yeah.
well, I can do that, and then then we could do the crock box.
Well, we can do crock. So like, it's get Ezek before D-Day, then on D-Day do crock box, or at least maybe before
Or
D-Day,
or
a couple days
or
before.
Or like
I
we
thought
could.
Romir was suggesting doing the crock box for Ezek.
Yeah,
No,
he's
I am.
Irina to Crockbox Ezek outside of
Yeah.
town.
Oh my god.
Combine both.
Yeah,
We can
no,
do that.
We're so deep.
Because I could do disguise self though, and then I could imitate her voice though, because
Right.
I definitely know what she
That's
sounds
true,
Like,
like.
you
darling, I
definitely
have
know
a
what
gift
she
for you.
sounds
I've
like.
loved you my whole life. Take this, and our love is
Yeah, it was like-
guaranteed. If you open it, my love will be yours.
It's like we could, like it would just be like, I want to give this to you under a tree. Though it'd be more romantic this way, and then bam, crock.
box. I'm not against it.
I hate to keep giving you ideas, but surely Blinksy has some big springs, so that can be a spring-loaded crock box.
Right?
Oh, what if I had like a? Oh, what if it was like a Jack in the Box? I would put a crank in it.
Oh, even better.
It's like a full day from here to Barovia Village, right? Or it's like a
Yeah,
half day?
most of the day. Like a half day if you hustle a bit.
Yeah, I don't know how much time we'd realize. What I'm afraid of is other shit coming up while we're out there and not making it back in time. But it's like, oh, you got 6 days until you gotta be back. Maybe 4 or 5. It's like,
Right.
well,
It's like 6 days to D-Day.
Well,
4 or 5.
okay,
this
so
sounds like here's the time for you to go to Barovia Village, come back, resolve this, and then move on.
It is a little bit of time if you wanted
Wait.
to wander a bit. So let's pop this open real quick. So Barovia Village, to give you an
Make 2,
idea,
maybe 3 stops.
is
2
kind
are
of about
mandatory.
the furthest you can go to another town, and it is a good 6-ish hour trip. So if there are other places you wanted to go to, they're less than that. Like, for example, Kresk, if you are hoofing it and you're not like taking a wagon that's kind of slow because it's pulled by one old draft horse, like you can get to Kresk and back. Like, if you leave at sunrise, you can be back by like early afternoon.
Go to
you
the
know?
bone grinder.
You could go to the bone grinder fairly quickly. It's probably only an hour there. It's less if you're willing to risk cutting through the woods, although that is a risk. Castle Ravenloft is a morning's trip. But if you wanted to like get back to like if you wanted to hit the Bone Grinder, Madame Eva, and Barovia Village all in one day, you probably could, but you won't be able to be back in Valaki that night.
Oh, as a part of Aaron shit, want to try to check in with Bev Dad.
Yes,
See how he's doing.
Bev Dad.
What?
Gordon.
And ask him if he knows anything about Eddie.
Eddie, it took me a second. Okay. I think that should be an actual role-playing encounter, but it'll, I think, be a pretty quick one.
Okay.
But I have a note to make sure we get to that.
Maybe
And I
Narlik
think-
will bring it up at that point.
Right? Maybe Narlik's just
Oh,
playing
that
that
guy? No, he's chilling with me now.
Right?
He
Oh,
came
that
to
shadow
hang out.
monster? He's my buddy.
My
We had a
shadow
slumber
monster.
party.
He taught me a new
Okay.
spell. He's my friend.
And I think maybe we'll even open up there next time because I think Borden would probably be coming down for lunch. You guys are like a little early, but you know. So yeah, okay.
I don't. We'd probably go to Barovia Village after Valaki is resolved, but that many days out almost feels like a waste of days. Like, I don't know if we can fill all those days with shit. Like, we're still kind of on a clock.
You
Like,
are.
Not
But
a,
also keep in mind, like I understand what you're saying about like not wanting things to happen in Valaki, but you've been away from Barovia Village for several days now.
Yeah,
I know.
Wouldn't hurt to
That's
stop
why I
there real
want
quick.
to go back.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Very, very badly because I'm very concerned.
Oh, what about the vampire you left in the basement?
Yes.
Oh, he's fine. He's trapped in there.
Is he
Hopefully.
fine?
And I gotta return a book too.
I hope he's fine.
Also,
I
I
moved.
hope his mark is fine.
it wouldn't.
We-
It's
We
always.
moved.
Go ahead, Frank.
We
my
moved
bad.
we moved like that stone altar like in front of the door though. He ain't getting out.
We did
Zach
stuff.
was very adamant that that was an okay solution at the time, but I still was like, I don't know if I buy that.
I didn't say
That
it was a
sounds like
perfect
horseshit
solution.
to me. Like, that's just an altar and one entryway.
I said it
Nothing's gonna
made sense
stop
to the
him from making a
characters.
new one.
Right.
like,
I
I
did.
can't-
I did make a point that it was not a permanent solution.
Yeah. I don't have anything else I can do though besides kill it. So fuck.
Right.
What,
We can go do
what am
that,
I
and
supposed
then-
to do?
If there's always downtime, we can always, make spell scrolls. Dave can make some, or Darla can make some spell scrolls and shit, and have some shit to, take.
That's the thing. Like, if you have full days, you're like, we don't really have anything on the docket. We're gonna craft or whatever. There are benefits to that.
Yeah.
But there are also things on your quest log, shall we say?
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, if we think we can reasonably book our ass to Barovia Village, I'm for that.
Yeah, I'm
But
down.
we will have to keep in mind that like we cannot stay out there for days.
Mhm.
I think the bone grinder would probably be better on the way back, just because I feel like it might take up a lot of time. But we can probably make
Yeah,
it there
we
tonight.
leave that if we have the time, and then depending on how long stopping over at Madame Eva's is,
Mhm.
Yeah. Right.
I'll
And we
do
go
that.
to-
I mean that can be pretty quick.
Bone grinder is where Granny's at, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
I owe Narlock a meat pie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
you do owe Narlug a meat pie.
But we were also warned about going to the bone grinder.
Mhm.
So I have a strong suspicion it won't be as simple as we expect.
Quick adventure, 20 minutes in and out.
In and out, 20-minute adventure.
Just pull through the drive-through.
I mean-
drive through.
I mean, a
There's
place
4
called
carts ahead of you in line.
Get Rick
Come
Taylor's party
on!
wagon set up.
I mean, a place called the Bone Grinder. What's the worst that can happen?
Right.
Right. To be fair, it is a mill. It is made to grind things.
Yeah, but that's like fee fi fo fum. I'm gonna grind your bones to make my bread. Fucking giant
Yeah.
ass Jack and the Beanstalk, motherfucker.
But yes, okay, cool.
I wonder if
So,
bone bread's
I
any
think-
good.
For what it's worth, you might want to tow over to Barovia Village at some point.
Yeah.
There are a bunch of things on
We
that
could do that
loop.
tonight, if we have time, or we could, or the night of the night what we're in, or we could do it the morning of it. Either one probably fine. I
It
guess it
sounds
just
like you might
depends
want
on
to spend the
yeah.
afternoon, and it doesn't mean it
Depends.
has to be the whole session or anything,
Yeah.
but you might want to spend the afternoon catching up with Lady Wachter and
Yeah,
figuring out
and
how
Yeah,
she
getting the
feels
feels
I
of the
think
about
music and
the
all that, and then we can
festival.
always do it tomorrow morning or the day
Mhm.
after.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could
Cool.
explain the plans and stuff like that, like what we
Mhm.
plan on doing though.
So first we
Wait, how many days
pin it
has
on the
it been?
bear and then we poison you. What?
How many days has it been though? Because she was going to make actions.
it's like
Yes,
2 or 3 days.
it's been 3
Yeah.
since she said you had a 10-day, which is like their
Okay.
equivalent of a week.
Yeah, it took us one
Um,
extra day to deliver the wine, so
mhm,
we weren't there on that long.
Yeah, it just seemed like forever because we were very busy those days.
mhm. Yeah,
Lots of
and
fire.
that was funnily enough. So last run through this, it took them 15 in-game days, and it took us 13 real-life months
Hmm.
to get through the campaign.
I was
We
gonna say
Um,
missed
I had a.
Yester Hill.
Oh, you did?
yes,
Wow.
completely
Yeah.
missed Yester Hill.
I
Well,
have it marked in my phone because I looked up the first stream.
we didn't necessarily miss Yester Hill. It
Well,
happened
you got
while we were
the
doing something else.
so what happened was just a trigger. Once you engage with the winery, if you don't go to Yester Hill before leaving, that's where you get what happened.
Yeah, I
Uh,
can't remember what else we were going to do, but we're like, we have another thing that happened first, so we should
mhm.
finish that and then come back to this. And we came back to this, and it was burned to the fucking ground.
On
Mhm.
August 5th, it's a Tuesday. It's gonna be our 1 year anniversary.
All right. Well, we should make pretty good progress. Again, and that was the first major campaign for most of the players. There was definitely some inter-party lack of trust. Like this party gets along pretty well, and especially after I think this session where everyone's like, huh,
Yeah,
Maybe
with
not a
maybe
the
they
bunch of
are
fuck
maybe
asses.
they are competent and not a bunch of murder hobos. You've got such a better dynamic. Like in session 2, uh two of the characters got into a big enough argument that one of them punched the other, and the one that got punched decided that hellish rebuke was the best way to end that argument, and ended up trussed up like a pig because they were convinced he was trying to murder the other person. So if that gives you an idea of how much uh, more effective of working as a party you guys are than the other group, that should tell you something.
I mean, there's things we don't agree with, but we still like.
Sure.
There's times I have Ervir just go off and do something else while I do something that he wouldn't approve
That
of.
Mhm.
I've learned to adapt out of game
Yes.
to letting you guys still have your fun within a line.
Mhm.
Right.
But there's been no attempted murder, is
Exactly.
what
Like,
I'm
and if
saying.
Yaku might
No,
might not agree with something, he might say something, but he usually doesn't act on it.
Right.
If we played 50% of the weeks, which would be 2 times a month, we have 8 more sessions until the 5th, or 16 if we played every week. So I mean, we're definitely gonna get some distance before we get close
Yes.
to that.
I
There
would
is a
expect.
line where I feel like I'd have to be forced to like